Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Naruto Awakens Haki at the start. Chapter 61. Rain, patter, patter, incessantly. Blood stained the rain, and the two mixed together, looking like a pair of painted words. In the water mixed with rain and blood, there are some broken corpses, unwilling faces, and some broken limbs, which look disgusting and terrible. Yi Chen maintained the posture of swinging the knife, and the rain kept dripping down and flowing down the body of his knife. His immature but resolute face was full of indifference and calmness, allowing the rain to fall. The scene in front of him was like hell on earth, as if he did not do it. With one slash, the black katana instantly swept through the ninjas, killing several Chunin directly, causing the remaining people to be hit hard, missing arms and legs. And the Yamanaka Kyuki and Yugong Jaihuo, who were preparing to go shopping with the enemy and pulling the backs of a few people, showed extremely shocking expressions. They know that Yi Chen is a genius ninja, very strong, and has 10 consecutive victories in the dark list. But I didn't expect Yi Chen to be so strong. All the enemies are Chunin, and every one of them is elite Chunin. Such an existence, in front of Yi Chen, was almost swept away by Yi Chen with one move. How shocking and incredible. The two Jonins in Rock Shinobi were also stunned at this time, with a look of disbelief. They stared at Yi Chen, trying to recognize the face hidden under the mask. Who was it? As for the injured Chunin, they were all terrified at this time, and some were even crying. At this moment, Yi Chen's Rakshasa evil ghost mask looks eerie and terrifying under the rain. This is the life-threatening evil spirit from hell, the ruthless Rakshasa. They didn't know what power Yi Chen had just displayed. There is no knot seal, just a simple swing of the sword is overflowing, and the terrifying power bursts out. It is simply incredible. However, after all, they are all elite Chunin. Although they both vomited blood, they all reacted the next moment. Rock Shinobi said slowly, "Terracotta, such an amazing sword technique, only one person in Konaha can do it." The other big man with bare arms is the other Jonin of Rock Shinobi, with a solemn expression. Indeed, just who is this person? It's not White Fang. It doesn't matter anymore. This kind of strength is definitely not ordinary Chunin, at least Jonin. Without hanging the other captains of Anbu, it is worth killing him. Don't get close, use ninjutsu to kill all from a distance. Oishi said. There are about 11 or 12 remaining Chunins. Although they are injured, they can still use ninjutsu. Water style. Water dragon wave. Water style. Water rush. Earth style. Earth movement technique. Earth style. Cracked rock. Earth style. Earth dragon technique. In an instant, Rock Shinobi, an elite unit that was ambushing and assassinating, all formed their seals and performed ninjutsu. In an instant, all the ninjutsu connected together, directly forming a monstrous water wave, covering the sky, roaring and relying on, as if it could swallow the earth. The ninjutsu of the two attributes of earth and water combined, the huge waves, the earth collapsed, and a tens of meters of earth dragon broke out of the ground, screaming in the sky. Fire style. Great fireball technique. At this time, Moonlight, the captain of the 9th squad, made his move. It is natural to use fire to deal with water. It's just that his flames are insignificant compared to the monstrous waves, and they are swallowed up in an instant. Their 9th squad is not an Anbu of the combat department. Yamanaka and Aburame do not have powerful fighting ninjutsu. Yi Chen, Yamanaka, Shimura, I will immediately use 50 detonating charms to cover you. You can run, one is one. Moonlight said quickly. Yi Chen is strong, but the other side still has two Jonin. If they drag on and there is no rescue, they will surely die. Instead of annihilating the entire army, it is better to give teammates a chance to live. A reconnaissance team like them will never have foreign aid, and they can only rely on themselves. Captain, let's go together, Yamanaka said, not wanting the captain to sacrifice himself for a chance to survive. We are not afraid of death, Aburame Shimura said calmly. None of us will die. The monstrous water and waves are pressing down, as if it can level everything. At this moment, Yi Chen faced the monstrous water waves, but he didn't have any intention of evading. He hung Yanmo by his side with one hand, and clenched his fist with the other hand, armament Haki covering his arm. Strange force. Spiral force. Cut. Yi Chen moonwalk vacated the sky. Haki was attached to Yanmo, and with the benefit of Yanmo, he slashed with will, facing the monstrous waves, shouting. 36 Trouble wins. The haki on Yanmo's body condenses into emission haki, forming a knife that cuts through the sky. In an instant, Slash breaks the sky, and even splits the monstrous waves of multiple ninjas in two. But it's not over yet. Yi Chen carried Yanmo behind his back, moonwalk stepped in the air and kept moving. Then he dived down at a high speed, his right hand was completely wrapped in the color of the weapon, the strange power continued to condense, and the power in the whole body continued to condense. Then hit the air, the invisible fist ripped apart the void, and a spiral air flowed out of the body. In the process of rapid descent, in the eyes of everyone, Yi Chen's iron fist is infinitely magnified. The black fist is like a mountain front, and it is unstoppable. Boom! The earth dragon collapsed and was torn apart. The earth shakes, the sky shakes. The ninja on the ground staggered, lost his center of gravity, and staggered. Shave! Yi Chen came to the side of a ninja in an instant, and without hesitation, he raised his knife and dropped it. Didn't even know what happened. How fast is the shaving speed, especially at the LV3 level, the entire 80-meter radius is all within the shaving range, almost like teleportation. Under the full speed burst, Yi Chen's body almost turned into an afterimage. Chunin, you can hardly see Naito use movements. Next, he came to a few Rock Shinobi with horrified faces. Yi Chen didn't speak, and Yanmo, who was holding in his right hand, swept away suddenly, like chopping melons and vegetables, harvesting people's heads. Before the two Jonin came to their senses, the Rock Shinobi assassination team had suffered heavy casualties, with heads rolling and corpses everywhere. Yes, Yi Chen's ability to deal with Chunin today is indeed chopping melons and vegetables. Absolute speed, absolute strength, and the sharpness of the magic weapon Yanmo, there is no one enemy of the same level. Between breaths, the tide of battle is turned. The Rock Shinobi Chunin assassination squad was almost wiped out at this time. Enma's black emission haki slashed through the void, splitting the entire space in half in an instant. The rain in the sky stagnated for a moment, and then fell again, and the time and space returned to calm. But this time, the bright red and blood on the ground were mixed together, and it was so muddy that it was no longer clear that it was the flesh and blood of the soil. It was as if blood-colored flowers were blooming everywhere, but these flowers were all flowers of hell, bloody and terrifying, and had nothing to do with the word, beautiful, but rather monstrous and terrifying. So far, all of Rock Shinobi's Chunin have been swept away by Yi Chen, slaughtered like a smash. This process is almost instantaneous, from Yi Chen's first swing of the sword slashing and shocking the quartet. Then Yi Chen smashed the earth dragon with a punch, and Yi Chen jumped the huge waves with a sword, smashing and killing all Chunin. It didn't take a moment at all. Between breaths, the big picture is set. Chopping Chunin is like chopping melons and vegetables. Several Rock Shinobi Jonin not far away also analyzed Yi Chen's identity with surprised expressions, but they didn't expect Naito Yu to end the battle. Even if support is too late. All of them were stunned, and immediately showed expressions of astonishment and disbelief. In the distance, Yi Chen was standing in the rain, the ground around him had already broken into pieces, Rock Shinobi's corpses were scattered randomly, basically no corpse was complete, and their faces still kept a look of fear. Expression. Too fast, Yi Chen's speed is fast, but the blade light is even faster, if lightning cut off their heads. Yi Chen breathed slightly, wearing a Rakshasa mask, like a ferocious Asura descended into the world, with a terrifying murderous aura all over his body. In the back, Moonlight Blaze, Aburame Shino, and Yamanaka Kai are all terrified. This is Yi Chen's strength. Where is this a rookie? He is clearly an old executioner. Murder like numbness, cut the head without blinking an eye. On weekdays, they get along peacefully and harmoniously. Yi Chen is handsome, just like the boy next door. Although they are called geniuses, they are not too serious about this genius. Now it seems that he is so naive. For a whole month, he actually stayed with a Rakshasa Shura who killed him without blinking an eye, and he didn't even know it. For a time, the three of them couldn't help sweating. Fortunately, Yi Chen is on their side, and Rock Shinobi should be the one with the headache. Yi Chen is holding the Yanmo Kue Dao in his hand, although his breathing is a little short, but the battle just now basically relied on physical skills and the power of Yanmo, and chakra didn't consume much. Compared to the previous missed shinobi, the cost of killing 7 Chunin in a row is actually smaller. This is the effect of the previous period of training. Under the tempering of Conqueror's Haki, the physical strength has been strengthened again, surpassing the limit. Battles, life and death battles, can only make him stronger and stronger, and let him continue to challenge the limit. Today's self is always stronger than yesterday's self. At this time, Yi Chen was still confident that he could still fight those two Jonins. Because the momentum of the two Rock Shinobi Jonin in front of them is completely different from the momentum of the previous Cloud Shinobi Armani. They are all Jonin, but their strengths are also divided into 3, 6, and 9 levels, and the gap between a realm is equally big. Ding, kill 18 Chunin, experience plus 7200, total experience 12,850 The result is Chunin, the system has converted the experience value. Sure enough, fighting kills is the fastest way to level up. The experience points are enough, and now the situation is tense. Yi Chen spent 10,000 experience points without hesitation to break through Conqueror's Haki, armed color. Armament color LV3 is directly upgraded to LV4. In an instant, Yi Chen's body was slightly startled, and a red light flashed from the depths of his dark pupils. In the dark, his armament has been improved by 1 level, and both defense and attack power have been greatly increased. Dong dong dong. The heart accelerates, the speed of blood flow is like a river, and its sound is getting louder and louder like a drum. From him, as if an invincible force was born from the inside out. This guy is very strong. I didn't expect to find a big fish, but isn't the fish too big? Rock Shinobi said gradually with a solemn expression. Just for a moment, I don't know if I have an illusion that this Anbu wearing a Rakshasa mask seems to be stronger again, I can't tell the feeling. Rock Shinobi Kitu said. After all, they are Jonin, and the high-end standing force of Yifang Nin village is also a strong player on the battlefield. Although Yi Chen is strong, they feel that they can still deal with it. Yi Chen felt his body, although there was no change on the surface, but if he did it, he would definitely be astonishing with his LV4 armament color. In an instant, beheading all Rock Shinobi Chunin, at this time facing the two Jonin, Yi Chen's face hidden under the mask, but did not show any expression. Yes, just calm. In his eyes, there was a flash of cold murderous intent and enthusiasm for fighting. In this kind of battlefield, there is no need to talk much, and there is no need to ask anything more. He is the ninja of Konaha, and on the battlefield of the ninja world, he is dealing with the ninja of Iwagakure, so no matter whether there is a great enmity between life and death, as long as he encounters it, he is the mortal enemy and there is no buffer or relaxation. The rain in the country of rain seems to have stopped at this moment, but the dark clouds have not dispersed, as if it is condensing a stronger storm. The atmosphere is chilling, and the invisible momentum is even more oppressive. At this moment, the 3 members of the 9th team, Moonlight Swift Fire, had their hair drenched in the rain, but they didn't even realize it. The battle begins again. Yi Chen versus 2 Rock Shinobi Jonin. As Anbu ninjas, they have participated in almost countless battles and experienced countless shocking scenes. However, even if the shock of a lifetime adds up, it is not so shocking. Earth Style. Earth Thrust. Oishi's instant knot seal used A-level range killing ninjutsu. The earth shook, as if something had broken out of the ground. Seeing the smile predictably, Yi Chen subconsciously backed away. But he felt as if his legs were stuck by something. Earth Style. Swamp Technique. Kitu also used Earth Style ninjutsu in an instant. Jonin's seal speed is not comparable to that of Chunin at all, and a complete ninjutsu comes easily between breaths. Yi Chen's feet instantly turned into a gray-black muddy swamp, and his legs were deeply immersed in it. Oishi's earth-thrusting night is coming. The ground trembled, and rocks pierced out of the earth, sharp and abnormal. If an ordinary ninja encounters it, it will definitely be penetrated through the body, and there will be no whole corpse. 1 control ninjutsu, 1 attack ninjutsu, the perfect combination. But do you think this is the way to win? Moonwalk. Yi Chen kicked his legs and stepped on the swamp with 1 foot. He recoiled vigorously, stepped directly into the air, and flew up in the air. LV4 armed color. Hardened. The arm instantly turned black, and the LV4 armed color is not the black of the lips. A dark red vein appears in the black, it looks like a red charcoal stove, hot and powerful. Earth Style. Earth Rock. Immediately after Yi Chen used Moonwalk to fly into the air, Rock Shinobi performed ninjutsu again. The earth shakes and shakes. A chain of rocks broke into the air, and they were controlled by ninjutsu, blocking Yi Chen's position. As we all know, if a person jumps into the air without a relay, the body cannot respond. It is only by grasping this point that dashi and terracotta will cooperate with this routine. It can also be regarded as the most basic routine for ninja battles. Of course, sometimes, the most basic routines play the most significant role. This is nothing more than the tacit understanding and experience of the caster. Several rock chains surround Yi Chen, and he must be bound. But in Aaron's eyes, Yi Chen actually walked in the air, and his performance seemed to be like walking on the ground in the air. How is this possible? Kitu's eyeballs were about to burst out. How could he walk in the air? It was incredible. However, this is the truth. Yi Chen walks in the air, facing the blockade of earth-style ninjutsu, and avoiding the chains like a walk in a garden. He seems to be able to do it with ease. Shave. In an instant, Yi Chen, who was still in the air, suddenly appeared in front of dashi. This speed is even faster than this advanced body flicker technique. Yi Chen sneered at the corner of his mouth, condensed the LV four-armed color and slammed into dashi suddenly. Oishi is not a body jutsu ninja, nor does he have the lightning-fast body flicker technique like Cloud Shinobi. His speed is not fast. Facing Yi Chen, who is close, you can only defend. He immediately made the seal and shouted, "Earth style, super hardened." He stretched out two arms and put them on his chest, and then the two arms petrified at a speed visible to the naked eye. In fact, it is not petrification, but a layer of rock coating appeared out of thin air on the surface of the arm. This coating is so hard that it cannot be pierced even by kunai. But unfortunately, he was facing Yi Chen. A red glow flashed in Yi Chen's pupils. Armament Haki's strange powers were combined into one. With a hum, a punch made a thunderous sound, and shouted. Iron Fist. Bang. Dashi's body was directly knocked into the air. The rock coating in his hand shattered in an instant, and his body seemed to be hit by a sledgehammer. Like being struck by lightning, he vomited blood while flying out of the air, and his eyeballs turned white. Seeing this, Kitu hurriedly summoned an earth-style big hand to catch Dashi's body and asked eagerly, "Are you all right?" Dashi's eyeballs protruded, and he coughed up several streaks of blood before slowly saying, "Be careful." What? Kaito was shocked. However, I suddenly felt a chill coming from behind, and a shocking crisis was on my back. With a glance from the corner of the eye, Yi Chen is holding Yanmo and slashing. This knife is mediocre, there is no light, and there is no vision. But it made Kitu feel a life and death crisis. It is this ordinary knife, but it seems to have replaced all the rays of light and become the only one in the world. All eyes converged here, with a hint of horror. The world has lost its color, and the terrifying black slash appears again. Terracotta subconsciously flashed the body flicker technique, but Oishi wasn't so lucky. The black slashing wave swept across his body without any obstruction, and the next moment, his body was dislocated and fell to both sides. One knife, one Jonin falls. And the aftermath of this slashing didn't stop. It flew into the distance, slashed the rain curtain, divided the woods not far away in two, and the short mountain bag was also flattened. Enma's power is proportional to armament Haki. It can be regarded as the only supreme sword that absorbs Haki and exists. Otherwise, his previous master Kazuki Oden would not have left a knife mark on the four emperors Kaido with this knife. Kaido's body, how hard it is known as the strongest creature in history. Isn't it a false name? Wong Luffy, being beaten directly by a hammer, is not just talking about it. Dashi, Kaito, who was beside him in an instant, showed grief and anger, and his partner was beheaded, which made him extremely angry. This time, he only ambushed a team of Konaha Anbu, and killed one Jonin and more than a dozen Chunin. The price of this failure was unbearable for him. I don't believe that you can't use up your chakra. Kitu stared at Naito Yu. Because Yi Chen was wearing a mask and cloak, he couldn't tell Yi Chen's age. In the ninja world, there is no way to judge age by body shape. Weak. The Jonin in front of him made Yi Chen feel extremely weak, at least 3 levels worse than Armani. The first is physical skills. Terracotta physical skills can only be regarded as ordinary. And most of the battle between him and Armani is about physical skills and endurance. Now what Yi Chen is thinking about is not to escape, but to stay behind the Jonin in front of both eyes, which will become the resources for him to embark on the road to the strong. Dashi's death severely stimulated Kaito. Kaito looked at Yi Chen with red eyes, full of killing intent. Earth style. Rock thorns. In an instant, in the ground under Yi Chen's feet, countless rock and soil spears suddenly appeared, piercing through them, as if they were going to kill Yi Chen and pierce them in an instant. In the face of this move, Yi Chen didn't even mean to evade. Observation Haki is turned on, and he stands in place, walking among countless rock and soil spurs like a leisurely stroll. He was always in the right position, and the rock thrusts couldn't touch him in the slightest. Ninjas perform ninjutsu, but it is impossible to completely control the orientation of ninjutsu to a certain position. How is this possible? Kaito was horrified. Is this still a human? Such an amazing insight has seen through all the rock and soil assaults. Yi Chen didn't bother to dodge either, so he just raised his foot, covered with LV4 armed color, and stomped on the ground lightly. Boom! The earth vibrated wildly, the rocks and soil stabbed, and all collapsed directly, almost destroying the dead. This earth-style ninjutsu was directly suppressed by Yi Chen. And with Yi Chen's black feet as the center, circles of black dark pattern energy continued to spread around. Wherever he passed, the earth shattered, turned into dust, and was wiped out in an instant. Even the ground beneath the terracotta is shaking. Such a strange force, truly unparalleled in the world. Shave. Yi Chen came to Kaito in an instant, and the speed was as fast as lightning, making it hard to prevent. Too soon. History seems to repeat itself. Earth style. Hardened. Kaito hurriedly turned his arms into rocks. Not only that, but his body was all hardened. Among the 5 ninja villages, except for Cloud Shinobi's lightning armor, Rock Shinobi's earth style is the most perfect defense. The real powerhouse is taijutsu, and ninjutsu goes hand in hand. Although Kaito is Jonin, Yi Chen has absolute confidence that he can kill him. Just like Namikaze Minato, in the Third Ninja War, with the speed of Flying Thunder God, he can stand alone in the ninja world, and now he is better than Minato, why not? Armed color. Rasengan. Yi Chen approached, and directly rolled out a dark blue ball, and it was covered with armed color. This is the first combination of ninjutsu and armed color. Terracotta uses the earth-style secret technique, and the surface of the whole body is covered with hard soil, and the whole looks like a humanoid rock native. Boom! The blue Rasengan turned into a jet-black iron bullet in an instant. Originally it was only the size of a palm, but in the process of sending it out, Rasengan's body suddenly enlarged several times. Boom! Kaito resisted with absolute defense, and did not make any gestures, so he took this move abruptly. Rasengan hit Kaito's chest, and at the moment of contact, the power of the spiral exploded wildly. But it doesn't stop there. The haki covered on the surface of Rasengan actually broke away and spread to the whole body of the terracotta. The red-yellow rock surface is covered with black haki, densely packed. Burst. Under Yi Chen's control, these free haki shrunk suddenly, and the terracotta rock armor was directly split from the outside, and it was torn apart. Click. Indestructible stone armor shattered, shredded by armament haki. And the constantly rotating spiral force in the Rasengan directly smashed the internal organs of the terracotta, and behind it, a powerful force came out. Bang! Cough! A mouthful of blood was spit out, and the terracotta complexion was horrified and unbelievable. He looked at his abdomen, the rock armor was shattered, blood was blurred, and the organs in his stomach were condensed like concrete being stirred. Who are you? The last bit of consciousness is still there, Kaito couldn't help asking. Yi Chen was silent for a moment. The two sides have different positions, there is no good or evil. In order for the other party to die more happily, he uncovered a corner of his mask. Just a corner. Kaito has been able to see Yi Chen's whole picture. His chest was like a thunderous blow, and he spat out another mouthful of blood, full of disbelief. I thought that under the Rakshasa mask was a hidden face of an extremely sophisticated powerhouse. However, the essence is a pair of immature indifference, young, too young. With a flash of sword light, Kaito's head has already leapt into the air with a horrified expression, and he can't rest his eyes. Since Kaito can see his own appearance, it is absolutely impossible for Kaito to have any chance of surviving. War without justice, no one is just. So be ready to be killed at any time. Don't blame anyone if you are killed, just blame yourself for not being strong enough. Ding, kill Dashi, gain experience 1500. Ding, kill Terracotta, gain experience 2000. The remaining experience is 6,350,000. Bang! At the same time, a golden treasure chest appeared in front of him. Due to the current situation, Yi Chen did not open the treasure chest, but extracted it into the system. The battle is over, and soon, the rain is still falling, pattering. Killing 18 Chunin and 2 Jonin this time is far less tiring than the last assassination, and there is still plenty left. Sure enough, every time you grind yourself to death, you will become stronger. At this point, the Rock Shinobi elite assassination unit that ambushed Yi Chen and others has been wiped out. Incredibly shocking scene. Although the battle was over, the rain continued to fall from the sky, washing the blood on the ground, and there was no momentum or movement. But it is this picture that is extremely shocking. Yi Chen stood quietly like this, there were corpses everywhere, the blood had already dyed the earth red, like a forest of hell. But Yi Chen's body was not stained with a drop of blood, nor was there any blushing. Like Shinigami, or he really is a Rakshasa, unstoppable. In the distance, since the outbreak of the battle, except for the captain of the 9th team, Moonlight Fire, symbolically sent a great fireball technique. Yamanaka Kayuki and Aburame Shimura, who were not even qualified to intervene, had their bodies frozen like petrification. Until now, there was still a bit of disbelief in their eyes. Dead, all dead. Yi Chen's strength is so terrifying, he is no longer under those elite sub-captains of Anbu, or even stronger. Even if Konaha's elite Jonin came over, that's all there is to it, right? At this age and with such strength, he is simply a slayer who was born for this second ninja war, the Hell Rakshasa. Afterwards, Yi Chen turned around in the rain and came to the three of them. The moonlight was ready to say something, but it was difficult to say it, as if someone was strangling his neck. We should go. Yugong Jaihuo's body was stunned, and finally became calm, and said, yes. The three started to clean the battlefield. Invisibly, Yi Chen was no longer a rookie they needed to protect, but a leader. In the ninja world, the strong are respected. Although Yi Chen didn't do this, Yi Chen's strength has convinced them. This is ninja, the weak follow the strong. Yi Chen took advantage of this gap, driven by curiosity, he still took out the golden treasure chest, ready to take a look. The golden treasure chest was suspended in front of him, exuding amazing and magnificent colors, dazzling. Because it is a golden treasure chest, the items that are opened are naturally not ordinary. You must know that the last golden treasure chest was opened with Mara fruit. No matter how you open it this time, its value should be the same as devil fruit. With a thought, the golden treasure chest slowly opened, and a golden light overflowed from the mouth of the box. Yi Chen looked at it and saw a gold-trimmed card floating in the bottom of the box. He picked up the card, and in the card, a familiar figure came into view, and a message entered his mind at the same time. Character card. Doflamingo, this card is a one-time consumption of the designated card. In usage 1, the person holding the card can summon the pirate Shichibukai Doflamingo for 1 hour, and the summoned person absolutely obeys the host. The second usage is that the person who holds the card can choose not to summon the card so as to fuse the card and inherit all the abilities of the person who has the ability of the card. Hey, this is different from the 4 Emperors summoning card last time. Yi Chen looked at the card in his hand and muttered to himself. When summoning Shanks, the card doesn't say that cards can be fused, that's why. After thinking for a while, Yi Chen understood the crux of the problem. The last summon was to randomly summon 4 Emperors, and there was no designated character. And this time, it is the designated card character, which is 100% summoning Doflamingo, which is the difference. Looking at the card in his hand, Yi Chen smiled, so he also had an extra whole card in his hand. Although Doflamingo is not as powerful as 4 Emperors Shanks, Devil Fruit's development ability is definitely among the best, and he has awakened, so it should not be underestimated. In the land of rain, it is rainy and rainy. In a hidden cave, the light is dim, and the humidity may be overcast. Outside the cave, there are many rubble, and the exposed gap is probably only enough for one person to go out. Coupled with the continuous rain and gray fog, this cave is generally not easy to find, and there are ninjas outside the cave who skip the reconnaissance. I believe that it won't be long before this cave will be discovered. Inside the cave, the tense atmosphere is suffocating and uncomfortable. Sannin, also known as Jiraiya, Tsunade, Orochimaru, was in the cave, with a tense expression, haggard face, and some scars on his body, and he looked very embarrassed. Especially Jiraiya, there are bloodstains on the bottom corner of the mouth, the breath is weak, the complexion is purple, and the lips are black, obviously poisoned. Tsunade is treating Jiraiya at this time, stable and highly poisonous. Orochimaru is standing on one side, his face is gloomy and insidious. In the Second Ninja War, even if they are like elite Jonin, their strength close to cage level is still in crisis. Not long ago, they encountered Hanzo's summoning beast, Sanshoyu. Sanjiao fish is extremely poisonous. Once caught, I am afraid that it will die immediately without a whole body. The Tsunade team was on a mission, and because of Jiraiya's carelessness, the Sansho fish's trap was triggered, which led to the pursuit. Now the ninjas in the outside world are not only Rain Shinobi, but also San Shinobi and Rock Shinobi. Hanzo Rock and Rock Shinobi Village, San Shinobi Village have temporarily reached a cooperation agreement to deal with Konaha together. Because among the three current ninja villages, although I don't want to admit it, it is true that Konaha is the strongest. In addition to White Fang, Jiraiya, Tsunade Orochimaru as Hokage disciples are naturally the main targets. However, Jiraiya's weak sense of detection, and even more careless personality, can also be understood as a pig teammate, which puts the three people in danger. Tsunade, it's useless. Sansho is extremely poisonous, and Jiraiya can't last long. Instead of saving others, it's better to save Chakra so that he can survive. Orochimaru's personality is selfish, indifferent, only for himself, and indifferent to the life and death of others. I won't give up my comrade, Orochimaru. Tsunade said with a serious face, still insisting, sending Chakra to Jiraiya. Orochimaru was silent, his face was pale, and his pair of snake pupils looked extremely evil, and his brows were wrinkled. This is a battlefield, and living is the ultimate goal. And the gap in the cave can only allow one person to escape. If the other person goes out, he may be discovered by the ninja outside, and neither of them can escape. So I suggest you give up on Jiraiya, and then the two of us will fight for the last chance of survival. Ha ha. Tsunade smiled dismissively and stared at Orochimaru, looking straight. Is this what you think, Orochimaru? Yes. Orochimaru and Tsunade looked at each other without evading. Really cool or cold-blooded? Tsunade said. There is no way, it is better to create a chance to live than to die together, Orochimaru said. Then do you think if it's you lying here now, does Jiraiya say that? Tsunade asked. Orochimaru was startled, speechless. If this idiot is really allowed to choose, he won't let anyone sacrifice. Perhaps there is a way to go out alone to attract the ninjas outside, and bring back the antidote to the poisonous Sansho fish. Tsunade said slowly. Who's going? Orochimaru asked. I'm going. As a medical ninja, I'm the perfect fit, Tsunade said. You, Tsunade, can you deal with the ninjas outside? Although your strange power is very powerful, you have consumed a lot of chakra just now. If you are caught by the opponent, you will definitely die. And most importantly, if who will take care of Jiraiya when you leave? Orochimaru said. You, Orochimaru, I'll leave Jiraiya to you. Tsunade said. Orochimaru pointed at himself with a look of disbelief on his face. He just said that he killed Jiraiya, but Tsunade let himself take care of Jiraiya. She is not afraid of killing Jiraiya secretly. After all, if people don't do it for themselves, they will be destroyed. Trust me, Tsunade. Orochimaru looked straight at Tsunade, his vertical pupils trembling slightly. It's not that I believe you, but this fool believes you. Tsunade looked at Jiraiya, and at some point, the half-conscious Jiraiya raised an arm slightly, his eyes were closed, but his face was smiling, and he made a thumbs-up gesture. Orochimaru looked at Jiraiya without moving. Did he believe in himself so much? As a student of Sannin, the relationship is not as good as it seems on the surface. Especially among Sannin, Jiraiya has the worst talent and Orochimaru has the highest talent. Orochimaru once despised this idiot very much, but he did not expect this despised idiot to believe in himself and willing to give his life to himself. A feeling that I had never felt before came to my mind, and Orochimaru was speechless. She stared at Jiraiya with blank eyes, her mind was confused. At this time, Tsunade had already reached the entrance of the cave, looked back at Orochimaru who seemed to have lost his soul, and said, "Orochimaru, Jiraiya believes in you, and I believe you won't let us down." After speaking, Tsunade jumped out of the cave, and then the outside world heard the screams of ninjas. Tsunade draws the enemy in the opposite direction. In the cave, only Orochimaru and Jiraiya are left. After a long time, Orochimaru let out a long breath, as if relieved. There was a smile on his indifferent pale face like never before. Then he would be foolish for a while. Sannin's bond has been closely linked from the moment. Rain country. High in a hilly area, this is Konaha village's camp in the land of rain, and it's not a temporary camp, it's a long-established and well-equipped place. Similar to a small village, in the center of this camp is the command post of the Second Ninja World War, Konaha. Hitaki Tsukumo is standing quietly in front of a sand table, analyzing the battle. As the most prestigious person under Hokage, this battle is entirely under his command, and only he can deter the enemy. At this moment, a black-clothed ninja rushed into the room. There are scars all over the body, blood is dripping, and the breath is faint. Hitaki Tsukumo looked up for a moment, and without him asking, the scarred ninja quickly revealed the information he had gained with his life. Tsukumo-sama, the front line fought with Iwagakure ninjas. Later, we found out that there were 2 Rock Shinobi elite assassination teams that penetrated the defense line of our Konaha base without us being aware of it. After speaking, the ninja died and his body lost his breath. At the same time, Hitaki Tsukumo's face became extremely solemn. Even Hitaki Tsukumo couldn't help but look shocked after hearing the news that the Anbu ninja scout was desperately sending back. 2 Rock Shinobi assassination forces have sneaked into their side, so the target must be the important personnel of Konaha or the elite troops of Konaha. The 3 major ninja villages have their own stations in the country of rain, and they are undoubtedly the safest within the scope of the station. But now there are 2 lurking in silently, absolutely deadly. It is equivalent to inserting directly into the heart. If you do not pay attention, it will definitely have unpredictable consequences. Once the ambush is successful, the consequences are unimaginable. And if an elite Jonin like Tsunade, Orochimaru or Jiraiya loses one, it will have a big impact on the battlefield situation. Immediately afterwards, a number of perception ninjas were summoned, and the intelligence ninjas entered the hall to discuss and unanimously decided to go to the rescue. But just at this moment, a figure broke into the room, acting resolutely. Those who dare to break in at such a time are naturally not ordinary people. He is the assistant of Hokage, the root of Danzo, and is also one of the commanders of the front line, but Danzo generally operates in the dark, carrying out various provocation and assassination operations, and rarely directly intervenes in the frontal battlefield. The frontal battle is decided by Sarutobi Hiruzen and Hitaki Tsukumo. "Tsukumo, you can't be dispatched easily." Danzo objected with a sullen face, not wanting Hitaki Tsukumo to leave the station. "If I don't go, none of them will be able to rescue Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Tsunade. They are the students of the 3rd generation and cannot be lost, and they also play a vital role in the battlefield situation," Hitaki Tsukumo said firmly. Hearing this, Danzo frowned. It's the confrontation stage now, and the top management hasn't even dispatched. If you are a leader of the war and you take action ahead of time, wouldn't it make people feel that my Konaha is empty? I'm not strong enough. Hitaki Tsukumo looked at Danzo, his body unconsciously showed a sense of injury, and said, "I will use another identity to kill the enemy with thunder, strengthen our Konaha's momentum, and let no one know. So don't persuade me, Danzo." Danzo was silent for a while, facing the determined Hitaki Tsukumo, and finally nodded, but there was a hint of displeasure in his eyes. In terms of seniority, he is the same generation as Sarutobi Hiruzen. Hitaki Tsukumo is just a junior, but unfortunately his strength is indeed strong, and he is the backbone of the current Konaha. Danzo, who was used to being arrogant, was still very unwilling to dispatch others. Hitaki Tsukumo left the station with a ninja rescue team, regardless of what Danzo was thinking. With the help of the Hyuga's White Eyes and the Inuzuka's ninja dogs, they quickly came to the area where there might be an ambush, and then slowed down. Since it is in the country of rain, the sky has been raining, and the rain will wash away a lot of breath. So they didn't sense Jiraiya's position at first, and could only move along the bloody area. But after a while, everyone's eyes flickered and frowned. An extremely strong smell of blood rushed to the face, even the rain seemed to be unable to completely wash away. After a few Anbu ninjas searched around, they finally found a hell-like battlefield, and their eyes were full of shock. My lord, the situation has been checked. The Hyuga family of ninjas opened their eyes to see the mutilated body not far away. Even the black and white world in their eyes was still shocking. What a brutal battle this is. Hitaki Tsukumo also noticed it, and frowned deeply when he saw this purgatory-like scene. Almost all of them are Rock Shinobi's corpses, each of which is extremely tragic, either missing arms or legs, and most of them are headless corpses. After every few steps, they kicked a ball-shaped object on their feet, which was the missing head of Rock Shinobi's corpse. The head of the Jonin's face was horrified, and the pupils were greatly dilated, especially the whites of the eyes took up all of it. Captain, it looks like it was cut open by a sharp dagger. Hyuga ninja said. Yes, the opponent must be a strong swordsman. Hitaki Tsukumo said. As a strong swordsman, they can naturally find clues from these corpses. Seeing that the fighting style is not what Konaha Shinobi did, Hitaki Tsukumo boldly guessed that the opponent must be a ruthless, decisive and ruthless ninja. If it's an enemy on your side, that's bad. Captain, the way of dealing with these corpses is our unique technique of Konaha Anbu and their remarks. But apart from you, Captain, I really can't imagine anyone who can kill so many ninjas by themselves, including 2 of them. Rock Shinobi Jonin, said Anbu, a senior detective. It's good news among bad news. Now that Rock Shinobi is dead, let's search another area. If we don't find Orochimaru and the others, we'll go back to the station first and make a long-term plan. Hitaki Tsukumo thought for a while and then said. 2 pairs of Rock Shinobi lurking in, 1 team died, and the remaining team was strong enough to deal with the 3 Orochimaru. And no trace of them has been found, which shows that the situation is good so far. Yes. Finally back at camp. Outside the Konaha camp, Yi Chen's 9th team returned to Konaha's camp. I went through the formalities with Anbu Ninja at the door, and then only heard the ninja say, Hitaki-sama is not at the camp, Danzo-sama is temporarily presiding over the camp's major events. The adults stipulate that all ninjas who return from going out must report to him to prevent enemy spies from lurking. Quote. Okay, Moonlight said hurriedly. Go see Danzo. Yi Chen frowned under the mask, with a bad premonition. There was no such regulation a month ago, but now that there is such a regulation, I always feel that something is wrong. On the other side, a ninja wearing a mask root was half kneeling on the ground and said, Lord Danzo, the ninja with Anbu is back. Well, let them in. Danzo nodded. Almost all of the Anbu ninjas in the camp were taken away by Hitaki Tsukumo, and he naturally had to handle these matters. Then Yi Chen and the 4 came to Danzo together. Yi Chen was wearing a mask, and he had nothing to do with Danzo, he just stood silently without speaking. Danzo didn't plan to investigate, but his sense of smell was naturally sensitive, and when the 4 appeared, an incomparably rich blood energy came. Moreover, seeing the 4 people in a state of embarrassment, especially seeing Yi Chen wearing a Rakshasa mask, he felt familiar and suspicious. Did you just fight? Why is there such a bloody smell? As Anbu is also a subordinate, especially in the face of the extremely powerful Lao Yinbi Danzo, under his stern gaze, it is impossible to hide the moonlight and the cold sweat. He answered honestly. Lord Danzo, we just encountered an elite Rock Shinobi assassination squad. Not good. Yi Chen thought to himself that something was wrong. Danzo, the old fox, seemed to have noticed something. Mr. Danzo, we are the 9th squad of the Anbu Investigative Department. Today, we came back to report the mission. On the way back, we were besieged by the Brigade Rock Shinobi, with a total of 18 Chunin and 2 Jonin. After a life-and-death struggle, we narrowly escaped. Quote. Under the pressure of Danzo, Moonlight said daringly, and did not describe the battle process. This is the power of the superiors, and extraordinary people can take it calmly. To Yi Chen's surprise, Moonlight Blaze didn't say anything about himself. You must know that Anbu is directly subordinate to Hokage, although Danzo is the root leader, but also has some power in Anbu. At present, 3rd Hokage is not here, Danzo is the biggest leader of Anbu. But Moonlight Fire actually concealed the truth of the battle. It seems that he is not ignorant of what is at stake, but intends to help himself. It didn't cost him to save his life. If he didn't pull Moonlight Fire in time, I'm afraid Moonlight Fire would have died under Rock Shinobi's ambush trap. But, can such clumsy speeches be able to hide from the cunning Danzo? Danzo frowned, really thinking, and then shouted loudly. Bullshit, how could you possibly escape the ambush of 20 Rock Shinobi? Tell the truth, have you been collaborating with the enemy? After he finished speaking, he waved his hand, and 6 rude members appeared out of nowhere to surround them. The situation in the entire tent immediately became tense and chilling. Aburame Shimura, Yamanaka Kai are shaking. The most painful thing is to be misunderstood by a partner. Captain, let's be honest. Yi Chen said, not wanting Moonlight to be embarrassed. Danzo's eyes were on Yi Chen, and he felt more and more familiar with the Rakshasa mask in front of him, as if he had seen it before. Seeing this, Yu Gong sighed and said, actually, we not only escaped, but also killed the opponent's 20 ninja. After finishing speaking, grab a Rock Shinobi's identity token from the ninja bag. These are the objects they found from the corpses after the war, which can represent their identity. Danzo looked surprised when he saw a token in Moonlight Blaze's hand. You know, these tokens are unique. A token represents an identity, a life. So much at one time, he has never seen so much in the Second Ninja World War until now. Because the current situation is in a state of anxiety, the 3 major ninja villages and the Kingdom of Rain have reached an invisible tacit understanding. It only competes for resources and land, and there is no large-scale ninja battle. Basically, it is assassination and petty trouble. And these people were all beheaded by one person, an official member of Anbu, codenamed Rakshasa. Said Moonlight hurriedly. What? When did we Konaha appear such a strong man? And who is Rakshasa? Why have you never heard of it? Danzo questioned that he did not know Yi Chen's Anbu identity. Not only him, but the 6 Gen members around are all shocked. 1 against 20, and 2 Jonin. They are all curious about this person's identity. And only the 9th squad, 3rd Hokage, Hitaki Sakumo, and the few Anbu ninjas who really knew Yi Chen's identity. It's me. Yi Chen took the initiative to speak up and took off the Rakshasa mask. Now, there is no need to hide. He'll see what Danzo will do next. Yi Chen under the Rakshasa mask is handsome and extremely young, and you can tell at a glance that he is not very old. The lips are slightly thin, which looks extremely cold, and the decisive look is not possessed by peers at all. Danzo thinks Yi Chen's face is familiar, really familiar. But I didn't remember it for a while. Although the graduation time is not too long, Yi Chen often trains with devils and exceeds the physical limit. At Home Conqueror's Haki, Devil Fruit's transformation, his body grows rapidly. You must know that the physical fitness of ordinary people in the pirate world is definitely higher than that in the Hokage world. Those who are strong are not more than 2 meters, and there are really few short ones. Yi Chen's change was so great that Danzo didn't recognize it, and it was normal. After all, Danzo himself works as a spy and does not know how many people he sees every day. I'm Yi Chen, graduated from XXX. Yi Chen said lightly, neither humble nor arrogant. When Yugong Huahuo saw Yi Chen's performance, he was very impressed. When he met Danzo, he was afraid to die, but Yi Chen was calm and composed. He was not as good as himself. Yi Chen. With a flash of light, Danzo finally remembered this boy, the genius of Konaha, the champion of the ninja school competition. Possessed the strange power bloodline, invincible in the same generation, extraordinary qualifications. He once wanted to recruit Yi Chen, but Sarutobi Hiruzen refused him to do so. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, this out-of-town boy has undergone such a big change. It's just that Danzo can't believe that Yi Chen can kill 20 Rock Shinobi alone, including Jonin. No matter how talented you are, there must be a limit. Just looking at Yi Chen's appearance, Danzo realized that he couldn't see through this child now. In the face of him, he can be calm and composed, and his face remains unchanged. And this kid exudes a powerful self-confidence from the inside out. Even if the genius ninja Namikaze Minato sees himself, he has to show a humble smile to hide his guilty conscience. You really killed 20 Rock Shinobi? Danzo asked again, quickly calming down. Yes. Yi Chen Kaido, although he only said 2 words, his words were sonorous and powerful. Danzo frowned. To be honest, he didn't like Yi Chen looking at himself equally. He had only seen that kind of aura in one person, Hitaki Tsukumo. A breath that belongs only to the strong. If it is true, then Yi Chen's strength needs to be re-evaluated. And so young with such a powerful strength, he must have a secret, and he must control this secret. Understood. After flickering for a few times, Danzo stood up calmly and said indifferently, "Come with me, the 4 of you." Hearing this, the pressure of Moonlight's rapid fire was removed, and he was relieved and was about to agree. Yi Chen said directly, "Lord Danzo, please tell us where to go before you take us, otherwise we won't follow." The faces of the 3 Moonlight Swift Huo froze. They are not stupid people. From Yi Chen's words, they sensed the intention beyond the words, and they all looked solemn. In Konaha, as we all know, Danzo is not a good person. How can he speak so well? En route's methods are darker and more shameful than Anbu's methods, and they don't even have a moral bottom line. Thinking of this, the 3 of Moonlight Blaze were in a cold sweat. If Yi Chen hadn't reminded them, they would have been sold by Danzo, or even killed, without knowing what happened. Danzo's expression changed, and his eyes sternly said, "Do you say it again?" Yi Chen took a step forward, looked directly at Danzo, his eyes were sharp, and an astonishing aura emanated. "Lord Danzo, Anbu belongs directly to Hokage, and you have no right to order us directly. Even if you are the root leader, if you want us to go, you must give a valid reason. Otherwise, it will be difficult to obey." Yi Chen looked directly at Danzo, and his momentum was not weak. His gradually stronger strength has made him qualified to challenge the dark forces of Konaha. Although he did not want to sentence Konaha, after all, there are many acquaintances here, and he also received the grace of Konaha for saving his life. But if Danzo goes his own way and insists on being hostile to him, then he can only rebel. The big deal is to leave Konaha, and his current strength is enough to gain a foothold in the ninja world. There is no need to look at people's faces, and with his strength, Danzo is nothing more than that in his eyes. Danzo's eyes became sharp in an instant, looked at Yi Chen, and said coldly, "Really?" "Yes, we are Anbu ninjas, directly under Hokage. Except for Captain Hitaki and Lord Hokage, even Lord Danzo has no right to transfer." Yi Chen looked calm and responded to Danzo, "Just kidding, Danzo's going to take the 9th team and the devil knows where to take the 3 of them. Going with Danzo is bullshit, and the results are predictable. Kun doesn't see Uchiha Shisui like Isshin for Hokage's ninjas, but Danzo's eyeballs are not buttoned." In the end, in frustration, he jumped off a cliff and committed suicide. Danzo snorted coldly, his face was frosty, and he said gloomily, "Hokage is not here. As Hokage's assistant, this old man can temporarily take over Hokage's position. Are you trying to disobey?" In an instant, an aura was faintly pressing over Danzo. But now Yi Chen is not afraid of Danzo at all. He has never been afraid of the momentum. With Conqueror's Haki, everything is just a courtier, nothing to mention. "I need to see Lord Hokage's orders." Yi Chen was still calm and said lightly, as if he didn't see Danzo's face as black as charcoal. The 3 people couldn't stop the cold sweat, and a heart was hanging in their throats. "I don't know what to say, they are just soldiers, how dare they resist?" Danzo narrowed his eyes and stared at Yi Chen, a little angry in his heart. No one dared to disobey him for a long time. He had already told Sarutobi Hiruzen that Yi Chen had an anti-bone behind his head, and he had to accept the tune of the roots. This kind of outsider can only be used as a tool, not to give him a little color. But now Yi Chen actually dared to confront him head-on, without giving him face. A mere kid, does he think that if he joins Anbu, he can completely ignore his Hokage assistant? No matter how good the talent is, now he is just a little devil who has not grown up. Presumptuous. Danzo looked at Yi Chen coldly and snorted coldly. Whoosh. In the next instant, several masked root ninjas immediately surrounded Yi Chen. In the entire tent, there are all root ninjas, there are more than a dozen. "Master Danzo wants to do something," Yi Chen said lightly as if he didn't see these roots. In his eyes, although the number of people is large, they are just a group of chunin, they are all chickens. There are very few really strong people, and for these roots, he can solve it in a breath. The old man is really carrying out Hokage's order. Danzo said coldly, his face cold. HMPH, you're not Hokage yet. Yi Chen sneered, not letting Danzo's face change suddenly. Not being able to become Hokage was the pain of his life. Now facing Yi Chen's ridicule, I am even more angry. How dare you humiliate him like this? More than a dozen root members were about to make a move, and the 3 Moonlight Rapid Fire were so frightened that they were so scared that they didn't dare to move a single point. Seeing this, Yi Chen saw a red light flashing in his pupils. Immediately afterwards, an extremely suffocating coercion overflowed. Everyone only felt that the temperature in the tent suddenly dropped to freezing point. A cold air emerged from the bottom of their hearts, and their souls trembled, as if they were about to face some unknown wild beast. Stop. Just as the swords were drawn, a loud and deafening voice came from outside. Yi Chen heard the words and immediately took away the haki deterrence. The temperature in the tent returned to normal in an instant, and everyone just felt strange. What happened to the cold feeling just now? Even Danzo was surprised. Did he just perceive something wrong? Why does it feel creepy? Without any doubts, because the sound from outside made his complexion change greatly. Why did Hitaki Tsukumo come back? He didn't go out to support. The next moment, Hitaki Tsukumo walked in with a group of ninjas from the Anbu assassination force. After seeing the situation in front of him, he took off his mask and looked at Danzo calmly. I've seen the captain, Yi Chen and the members of the 9th team said one after another. What's the matter? Hitaki Tsukumo looked calm, not angry, and looked at everyone. From a long distance, he could sense the tense atmosphere inside the camp, especially the shocking murderous aura that disappeared in a flash. It's so pure, it's exactly the same breath left on Rock Shinobi's corpse on the battlefield. He glanced at the audience. Danzo, the 9th team, the root members, none of them had such strength. No, Hitaki Tsukumo saw the Rakshasa mask. Yi Chen is actually here too. A terrible and bold guess formed in his mind. Even he himself could not believe it. Yi Chen is the killer who killed that team of Rock Shinobi. Hearing the captain's question, Yu Gong hurriedly explained the cause and effect of the incident. After finishing speaking, everyone exclaimed again, shocked, unbelievable. Especially Yi Chen single-handedly killed 18 Rock Shinobi Chunins, and even cut 2 more Jonins. After hearing this, Hitaki Tsukumo looked at Yi Chen in disbelief. Even he couldn't imagine that Yi Chen was so strong. It was really him. Even if it's a monster, it's just like that, right? In just half a year, how could Yi Chen be so powerful in such a leap is simply unbelievable. Not even a monster, right? It can't break through the sky, can it? Everyone looked over, and even Hitaki Tsukumo cast his eyes as if asking. Seeing this, Yi Chen has long since said what he thought. Actually, I practiced 8 inner gates, and the captain should have heard of 8 inner gates. It is a forbidden technique that can explode powerful power in an instant. Everyone knows it, so it is. The incident of wearing 8 inner gates in Konaha Might is no longer a secret. Yi Chen and Might Dai are so close, it doesn't seem to be a strange thing to meet 8 inner gates. Hitaki Tsukumo looked uncertain, but didn't say anything. Yi Chen naturally knew that his excuse to fool the rest of the ninja was fine, but fooling Hitaki Tsukumo was almost. But that's enough. Danzo is too selfish and will do anything to achieve his goals. And Hitaki Tsukumo is not Danzo. In the camp, Hitaki Tsukumo took a deep breath and looked at Yi Chen with a bit of amazement, and said, I will report this matter to Lord Hokage truthfully. Yi Chen, you should go to rest first. 8 inner gates is the side effects are also severe. The rest go back to their jobs and don't slack off. Seeing this, Danzo showed an unwilling look on his face, but Hitaki Tsukumo was the highest person in charge on the battlefield of Kizun, and he had to listen to his words. At least he wanted to show face. Finally, I left with the root members. The rest of the Anbu ninjas also retire. Yi Chen hugged Hitaki Tsukumo and left. In the next few days, the story of Yi Chen's beheading of Rock Shinobi's 20 ninjas came out. Of course, when everyone was talking, they didn't use Yi Chen's real name. It's more of Yi Chen's Anbu codename, Rakshasa. Almost everyone knows that Anbu Rakshasa is a ruthless man. Yi Chen was walking in the camp, and from time to time there were voices of conversation. Look, he is a Rakshasa. Such talent is really amazing. Yeah, it is estimated that Rakshasa will directly become the squad leader this time. No, it is possible for the squadron leader. And the credit this time, I am afraid that the reward will be very rich. Maybe I can be qualified to choose the forbidden technique on the sealed book. Many Anbu ninjas were in awe, but also showed a bit of envy. As a ninja, who doesn't want to build meritorious deeds, become famous in the ninja world, and be admired by others? Yi Chen did it at a young age, who wouldn't be envious? But some people envy and some hate it. This hated person is naturally Danzo, who was completely offended to death. These 2 days have basically been black-faced, not saying a word, and the complexion is gloomy, making people afraid to approach, like a malevolent star. Yi Chen didn't care about Danzo's attitude. Anyway, the two are destined to not be able to get together, and because of their personality, they are eager to kill themselves. If this is the case, Yi Chen will not be soft. Anyway, he is alone, hurt each other, who is afraid of who? And he really hoped that Danzo would give him experience. Looking forward to Danzo's next move. On the 3rd day, Yi Chen finally received a personal notification from Hitaki Tsukumo. I asked myself to go to the open space at the back of Konaha camp, as if I had something to talk about. As to the content of the conversation, he had almost made a good guess. Hitaki Tsukumo stood there early when he reached the back mountain clearing. Captain, Yi Chen greeted with fists, showing respect. Hitaki Tsukumo saw Yi Chen's arrival, with a smile on his kind face, and said, "You're here, Yi Chen. Well, I don't know what the captain asked me to do." Yi Chen asked directly without beating around the bush. He's a little impatient, similar to your swordsmanship, ruthless and decisive. Hitaki Tsukumo joked. Yi Chen pretended to be stupid without showing any emotion on his face, and said, "Captain, I don't know what you're talking about." "What kind of swordsmanship? You really don't know?" Hitaki Tsukumo's face showed a vague expression. Yi Chen heard the words, looked at Hitaki Tsukumo, and finally smiled helplessly. "It seems that I still can't hide it from the captain. I don't know how the captain can see it." Ha ha. Hitaki Tsukumo smiled and said to himself, "First of all, it's the 8 inner gates, you don't know it at all. According to the battle marks, it's not like the 8 inner gates. Moreover, the damage to those corpses, as long as they are carrying, I'm afraid they can find that they are knife wounds. It's just that until now, I still don't believe how can you have such domineering swordsmanship, Yi Chen, don't you use strange power?" Yi Chen didn't answer immediately, but took out a scroll from the ninja bag and slowly sealed it. Bang, the demon sword Yan Mo appeared in his hand. Holding this knife, Yi Chen's temperament changed in an instant. Aloof, cold, evil, indifferent. Moreover, he himself has learned a sword skill, 36 troubles, and also has a strong sword skill. Of course, it is still a certain distance from the swordsmanship of Hitaki Tsukumo. What an evil knife. Hitaki Tsukumo's pupils lit up, and when he saw Yan Mo, he couldn't help but say, "I have never seen such an evil sword." Before it is unsheathed, the body of the blade has overflowed with purple demonic energy, making people feel an illusion. Being able to kill Rock Shinobi is also due to the sharpness of this knife. I think I probably understand how you did it. In the early years, I also saw the grass pheasant sword of the grass pheasant family, so the comparison between the two is indistinguishable. Hitaki Tsukumo gave a pertinent evaluation. As for where the sword came from, Hitaki Tsukumo didn't ask, and shouldn't ask. Yi Chen, your talent is extraordinary. In my opinion, you can go further in the future. Konaha is developing, there are some unsatisfactory places, I hope you can be considerate, you don't have to worry about Danzo's affairs. Come on, he can't move you with me around. Hitaki Tsukumo said seriously. Thank you, Captain. Yi Chen thanked solemnly. To be honest, it is much easier to communicate with people like Hitaki Tsukumo, and not to engage in so many tricks and intrigues. The two chatted for a long time, and when they parted, Hitaki Tsukumo took out a scroll and gave it to Yi Chen. This scroll is Hitaki Tsukumo's experience and insights on swordsmanship. Since Yi Chen has such a chance, Hitaki Tsukumo is also willing to be an adult beauty. During this time period, I naturally hope that the strength of my side is as strong as possible. Silently writing down Hitaki Tsukumo's kindness, Yi Chen said goodbye and cherished this hard-won peace. When Hitaki Tsukumo passed Yi Chen's news back to Konaha, the top officials of Konaha were shocked, and Sarutobi Hiruzen was very moved. This age, this body strength. Even beheading 20 Chunin, and they are not weak, who can do it in the younger generation of Konaha? Even if I heard that it was because of the 8 inner gates, it could only explode for a short time. Obviously Hatake Tsukumo didn't fully say it, but concealed it a bit. So, Sarutobi Hiruzen is still shocked. After a long silence, Sarutobi Hiruzen gave several orders. First, the information about Yi Chen is classified as top secret and cannot be easily leaked. Second, Yi Chen was transferred to the Anbu Special Unit, still codenamed Rakshasa. Third, it is about Yi Chen's next secret mission. With such strength, and being on the battlefield of the Second Ninja World War, Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally hopes to maximize Yi Chen's light and heat. When the war is over, Yi Chen returns to the village. He can completely let Yi Chen choose some advanced ninjutsu on the Book of Seals, and even forbidden technique practice to improve his strength. Of course the end of the war is too far away. At least in Hatake Tsukumo's assessment, Yi Chen's strength is Jonin, especially Jonin, even stronger. A Jonin can't decide the outcome of a battle, but his role is huge, especially his real age is unbelievable. News about 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen soon spread from the Land of Fire to Camp Konaha in the Land of Rain. The main content is the secrecy of information about Yi Chen and his transfer to the Konaha Anbu Special Investigation Unit. Konaha Anbu Special Investigation Unit, the name is special because it is directly under Hokage. Although Anbu was originally ordered by Hokage, he would still be affected by some external forces to some extent. For example, this time Danzo, he may force the action. Now Sarutobi Hiruzen classifies himself as a special force, that is the real Hokage lineage, and even Danzo has no right to interfere with him. In terms of authority, it is on the same level as Konaha Anbu's core commanders, only under the commander Hatake Tsukumo. From this, it can be seen that 3rd Hokage's mind really wants to win over Yi Chen and tie him firmly to Konaha. After receiving the news, Danzo was even more depressed and vomiting blood. In addition, it rained every day in the country of rain, and his mood was even worse. In the same way, Yi Chen also understood that Sarutobi Hiruzen might have a big move in doing so, and he might have to accept another secret mission. But these are nothing. With his strength and many trump cards, in today's ninja world, he barely has the power to protect himself. During the following period, he stayed in the Konaha camp silently practicing swordsmanship, comprehend haki, and was ready to fight at any time. After about half a month, Sarutobi Hiruzen's new secret order finally came. However, his mission is very special. This time, it is a single-player operation. He does not need to wear a mask and a cloak, but directly disguises himself as an ordinary person and sneaks into the country of rain to wait for an opportunity to capture information and assassinate the opponent's ninja. There were several assassination targets, including many elite Jonin in Rain Shinobi Village, and even Hanzo of the Salamander. However, Hanzo of the Salamander must have been directly ignored by Yi Chen. This boss is still left to Konaha to clean up, or there will be a chance for him to team up with Sannin to fight in the future. Of course he is a mess. If you kill Hanzo by accident, you will probably explode the best treasure chest. After all, Hanzo can be regarded as a big boss in the early stage, and he is known as a demigod because he is extremely powerful. The Second Ninja World War can be regarded as one-handed plan, and its status is extraordinary. In addition to the ninjas of Rain Shinobi Village as Yi Chen's assassination targets, Iwagakure, Tsunade's Jonin, are also among Yi Chen's targets. This is the task of Yi Chen, a special Anbu. Of course, because of this, it is extremely free. Yi Chen can complete the task in any way he wants. Naturally, these assassination targets do not need to be all assassinated, and if they can kill one or two, they will complete the mission. Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally wouldn't expect Yi Chen to kill all the targets on the list. Even if Hatake Tsukumo goes, it won't be done. Soon, after Yi Chen cleaned up, he left Konaha's camp and started a single brush tour. First of all, according to the instructions of the mission, first dress up as an ordinary person in the country of rain, then sneak into the territory of the country of rain, and then decide the next action based on intelligence or collect intelligence by yourself. Not long after Yi Chen left, in a hidden underground in Konaha camp, a root ninja was reporting Yi Chen's situation to Danzo. Danzo narrowed his eyes flickering uncertainly. Did one leave the camp alone, and not wearing a mask and cloak, What does that mean? A secret mission for Sarutobi Hiruzen. It's little devil, who dares to insult the old man, will definitely make you pay the price. And Konaha doesn't need disobedient chess pieces, just tools. Now Yi-Chen has been transferred to the special Anbu department. All the information about Yi-Chen is top secret, even he can't access it, he must first get Hokage's consent. And until now Danzo is still a little confused, can't understand Sarutobi Hiruzen's intention. In his opinion, Yi-Chen is not qualified to enter that special department. Even though Yi-Chen is extremely talented, he hasn't grown up yet. In his opinion, Yi-Chen must have used some kind of secret method to kill Rock Shinobi 20 nin in a row, and this method cannot be used continuously or has side effects. Also, he must get this method. This kid doesn't deserve it. And Sarutobi did this, perhaps to better protect Yi-Chen. The more this is the case, the stronger Danzo's killing intent is. Sarutobi didn't give himself face for the sake of an out-of-town kid. Friendship for so many years is in vain. Bang bang. Two shadows appeared out of thin air in front of Danzo, kneeling on one knee. Seeing this, Danzo said grimly, "The pommel horse blood fog, Yuhime kills, you two bring him back, want to live." The old man wants his secret. Yes, the two root members disappeared instantly. Looking at these two tool people, Danzo showed a satisfied look on his face. The tools must have the appearance of tools, and they don't need any emotions and personal emotions, just obey. But when he thought of Yi-Chen who went against his will, Danzo's heart couldn't help twitching. Kurama and Yuhi are the big family of Konaha illusions. Even Jonin can't handle the illusion that they unite together, and they will definitely be able to bring back Yi-Chen silently. ... It is still the same dark cloud shrouded, the same drizzle. Yi-Chen walked on the muddy ground, but there was no muddy water splashing under his feet, and his clothes were completely dry. All the rain that fell from the sky was directed to both sides by a strange force when it approached Yi-Chen's body. This is the use of Haki, the armed color emission Haki, the means of the air envoy. It is hard to guard against. LV4's armament ability is even more mysterious, and it is really too great for his improvement. After walking for a while, Yi-Chen suddenly stopped in surprise. Behind him, a dark figure was chasing after him. It looks like a shadow, but when approaching, it can be seen that it is two people. Both are wearing masks and capes, Anbu ninja. No, it's slightly different from Anbu's costume, but if you look closely, it's a root ninja. Danzo's man. Rakshasa, Lord Danzo, please go back. Yuri Yumi Kill, wearing a red mask, said in a cold voice, without the slightest emotion, like a robot narration. Sorry, I don't have time. Yi-Chen said indifferently and refused directly. It is clear that the Comer is not good, and he is too lazy to pretend to be a snake. If that's the case, we'll take you back. Yuri Yumeka said. Ninja technique. Darkness technique. Yuhime Killer quickly formed a seal and performed an illusion. Yi-Chen looked around, only to feel that all the light around him was deprived, and he was suddenly trapped in boundless bondage. Illusion. Yi-Chen released the perception of seeing, hearing, and color, and even in the dark, he was able to locate the location of Yuri Yumi killing. It just feels like something is wrong. Everything is too real. Kill, shave, kill in an instant. Chapter 71. Illusion. Dark technique. The light disappeared and the world was plunged into darkness. Generally, illusions are aimed at the five senses: sight, smell, taste, touch. The dark line technique is aimed at vision and deprives vision. It's just that Yuri Mengsha didn't know that Yi-Chen didn't need to visually judge the position at all, and his sight and color could perceive everything. Illusion. Magic tree binding and killing. Yuri Yumi Killer performed the illusion again, and Yi-Chen used his knowledge to locate his position even in the dark. In an instant, in the dark with a punch of thunder danger. Yuri Mengsha was shocked. He didn't expect Yi-Chen to judge his position without losing his vision. You can't dodge at your own speed. I saw a black fist constantly expanding in his pupils, when it was about to smash his head with one punch. Yi-Chen's body stopped, and countless black vines appeared out of thin air to bind him tightly. And in this way, there are many thorns on the surface of Shumen, like a bush of thorns, densely packed. These spikes pierced Yi-Chen's skin, paralyzing Yi-Chen's nervous system. The magic tree binding and killing activated Yi-Chen at the last moment. It's so dangerous. Yuri Yumi killed with a look of joy. Immediately looking at Yi Chen, who was struggling, he couldn't help but say, "Although you are a genius, in the face of illusion, you can't escape no matter what, go back to see Lord Danzo obediently." Yi Chen was restrained, but his expression remained unchanged. It's too early to be happy. Although he doesn't know magic, he can attack mentally. Conquerors. A touch of scarlet appeared in his eyes, and conquerors burst out. The sky and the earth shook, the wind and clouds changed color, and an extremely powerful coercion spread. The wind has stopped, the rain has stopped. Everything in the world is stagnant at this moment. The red conquerors continues to spread in all directions with Yi Chen as the center. Soon this area was covered by conquerors, the birds and beasts scattered, and all things surrendered. Yi Chen's magical tree binding kill was directly broken, and he was freed from the bondage, and then an armed iron fist blasted out, and the sound of thunder exploded, directly destroying Yuri Dream killing. Pata. Yuri Yumi Kill fell to the ground, his eyeballs protruded, his 5 internal organs were smashed, his whole body was shattered, and blood was dripping. Killed the opponent, but Yi Chen couldn't be happy. First of all, the system does not prompt him to kill the enemy to gain experience. Furthermore, he always felt that he seemed to be missing something, that there was something that was deliberately forgotten. The rain in the sky is pattering, the raindrops are falling on the body, it is cold and wet, the water droplets are splashing, and the wind is howling, everything is so real. Looking at these raindrops, Yi Chen fell into reverie for a moment. Outside world. Have you succeeded, blood mist? It was Yuhime murderer who spoke. He didn't die, indeed everything just now was still an illusion. The superimposition of illusions in illusions is undoubtedly very clever, and it is difficult to distinguish between reality and illusion. The real illusionist is the blood mist of the saddle horse hidden in the black robes. The illusions of the Kurama clan are more mysterious than those of the Yuhi clan, and they are more difficult to guard against. Directly for the 5 senses, known as the dream of murder. In other words, if you die in a dream, you will die in reality too. All the feedback of dream illusion is borne by the body in reality. Cough cough. The pommel horse coughed and sprayed several mouthfuls of black blood. His body suddenly slumped and he said, his mental will is too strong. I can't sleep him for long. I must quickly make him incapacitated. It's so powerful, Yuhime Dream Killer said. Yeah, said the pommel's blood mist. The pommel horse family, the magic trick is mysterious, and the ninja world alone, the color changes. But there is also an important disadvantage, that is, the people of the pommel horse family are weak, and their bodies are overwhelmed by the powerful spiritual energy of illusion. Therefore, the pommel horses are basically sick seedlings, and their lifespans are not long. Since that's the case, I'll abolish him first. Anyway, Lord Danzo just wants to live, and he didn't say that he would be brought back intact. Yuri Yumi Killed said, and after he finished speaking, he took out Kuwu and walked towards Yi Chen. Yi Chen stood on the spot at this moment, his pupils lost focus, his expression was dull, and he had no consciousness at all. Yuri Yumi Kill looked at Yi Chen, paused for a few seconds, then his eyes flashed fiercely, and he picked up Kuwu and stabbed it. PFF'd. The space suddenly froze, and everything became extremely quiet. What? Yuhime Yumeka looked at the black iron arm that held him tightly. I saw that Yi Chen's pupils, which had lost focus, gradually returned to normal, showing brilliance. He looked directly at Yuri Yumi Kill, and said coldly, looks like I have to kill you again. After speaking, the arm directly tore off Yuri Yumi Kill's arm, then grabbed his throat tightly, and twisted it without any hesitation. Throw away its body like trash. To this day, dozens of lives are on my hands. Yi Chen's heart has long been as hard as iron, and he will not hesitate to kill without blinking an eye. Then he walked directly to the blood mist of the pommel horse. Yan Mochu was now in his hands, the purple demonic energy was galloping, and without a word, he chopped off his head with a knife. A line of blood shot, and the pommel horse's blood mist stood on the ground in a half-kneeling posture, and his head was thrown several meters away. Kill 2 Chunin, EXP plus 1200, remaining EXP 7,850 Hearing the voice in his head, he breathed a sigh of relief, and the illusion was finally over. Even he did not expect that there is still an illusion hidden in the illusion. Or, from the very beginning, he was caught in the illusion without realizing it. The illusion of the pommel horse family is really dangerous. Manipulating the five senses directly constructs a spiritual world. Everything there is exactly like the real world. Almost capsized in the gutter. If it wasn't for the presence of two chakras in his body in the end, the immortal chakra was restless, I'm afraid he wouldn't forcefully break through the illusion. It seems that the prevention of illusions is still better for Yan to be vigilant. Yi Chen muttered to himself, and then left the place, leaving only two corpses in place. Long after Yi Chen left, Danzo with a gloomy face appeared here with a few rude ninjas. Seeing Yuri Yumi kill the corpse of the pommel horse's blood mist, he couldn't help screaming in the sky. What a thief! Even the village ninja committed such a heavy murder, his heart can be punished. One had his neck broken and his arm removed. One was directly decapitated and the corpse was separated. It's shocking to see such a death. For all this, Yi Chen naturally didn't know. Even if he knew it, if it was Danzo, he would kill Danzo directly. If you dare to take action against yourself, then you must prepare to be killed. In the hinterland of the Land of Rain, a hustle and bustle town. But in a dark alley, three ninjas were chatting in a low voice, but their clothes were undoubtedly Rain Shinobi. What's the situation on your side? Rain Shinobi hasn't moved, and Rock Shinobi and Konaha haven't had any serious conflict. There may be big moves in a while, you pay more attention and pass on information at any time. Three ninjas were talking to each other about some information. Just when they finished talking, left a secret code, and were about to leave. A figure suddenly flickered from the corner, and the speed was extremely fast, like white lightning. Although the three of them reacted, their bodies didn't have time to dodge, and they didn't even have time to use ninjutsu-like body replacement technique. Laugh. A gleaming white sword light flashed. Electric light flint. The figure appeared directly behind the three of them, holding a long sword with purple demonic energy in his hand. There was no blood on the blade, it was still as bright as new, but it became pitch black in an instant. Black Shadow was wearing a raincoat that is common in the Land of Rain, but it was slightly worn, and the face was slightly immature, but it was cold and indifferent. There was no hesitation in his eyes, some were just indifference that did not match his age. The Black Shadow is naturally Yi Chen himself. After listening to it for so long, it's just a bunch of nonsense and no important information. I'm really disappointed. Turning around, Yi Chen raised his head to take away Yanmo, and walked out of the alley slowly. And the three Rain Man spies all showed extremely horrified expressions at this time, and wanted to turn around. But he felt a chill in his neck, and a tiny blood line appeared. Then the blood flowed from the neck, like a volcanic eruption. The heads of the three people suddenly flew into the air, maintaining stiff expressions. And the neck is even more bloodshot, blood splattered. The three of them didn't make any sound, and they were directly obliterated by Yi Chen. Yi Chen walked out of the alley. Half a month has passed since he left Camp Konaha. In the past 2 weeks, under the guidance of Anbu Scout, he traveled to various places in the Land of Rain, spying for information, and assassinating by the way. The three people just now were a sparse and common group among the many spies he killed, and there was no information. After this period of accumulation and constant fighting, it can also be understood as unilateral killing, and his experience has accumulated to 9,850 thousandths. There is still a little wine and 10,000 experience left, and then Conqueror's Haki can be upgraded again. During the assassination process, Yi Chen's cultivation did not let go, and the combination of theory and practice made progress faster. Moreover, during this period of time, he has seriously studied White Fang's experience and perception of swordsmanship, and he has a different understanding of swordsmanship. White Fang's swordsmanship seeks absolute speed, absolute precision, and absolute high burst. As we all know, the world's martial arts, only fast is not broken. The same is true of swordsmanship. The speed of White Fang's swordsmanship often cuts off the opponent's head when the opponent reacts. As for how to be fast, Hitaki Sakumo also left training methods in the reel. This training method is similar to Cloud Shinobi's ninjutsu. Cloud Shinobi's ninjutsu uses chakra to stimulate cells to activate cells and increase physical fitness. The principle of activation is that human nerve signal conduction is also a kind of current signal. Covering it with lightning-style chakra can amplify this signal, so that its own reaction speed becomes faster. At the same time, the thunder attribute chakra stimulates the muscle cells, pulling a hair and moving the whole body, and finally practicing extreme speed. Shaving, in itself gives Yi Chen a speed that is disdainful of his peers. And as the level increases, the speed is comparable to the advanced body flicker technique, and even the range is also improved a lot. But after all, this is the strength brought by the system, and Yi Chen can't rely on the pirate ability to become a real powerhouse. He also has to train himself. As a strong man, he should have the heart of a strong man, and the rest are all assistants. He has the thunder attribute chakra himself. During this mission, he has been activating muscle cells according to White Fang's cultivation method. The effect is also very significant. While using shaving, the thunder attribute chakra is covered, the cells are activated, and the speed is even higher. So when the 3 range shinobi were just killed, the only thing they felt was a flash of white light. The speed of the galloping speed is not an exaggeration to describe the speed of Yi Chen now. One person walked to the streets of the rain country town, thinking about his future plans. However, at this moment, a loud noise suddenly came from a distance. This town is not big, there are few ninjas, most of them are ordinary people. However, because it is in the hinterland of the rain country, it is not like the edge is completely in the midst of war, and it is relatively harmonious here. However, it is only temporary, and the war will always end here. When the war begins, nowhere is pure land. Catch them both. Those 2 are thieves. Shouting and shouting came in bursts, and the crowd was chaotic. The 2 figures each held a long loaf of bread and squeezed it out of the crowd, their faces panicked. The person chasing from the rear is a little difficult to squeeze over due to the problem of body shape. Yi Chen didn't even stop, and was not interested in this kind of thing at all, because this kind of thing has been seen many times during this time. In the land of rain, there are many people who become thieves and bandits because of lack of food every day. But unfortunately, one sentence made Yi Chen stop in an instant. Conan, let's go. A young man with orange hair was rushing against the crowd, and a weak girl with short blue hair followed closely behind. There was constant shouting from behind. It's them. Yahiko, Conan. Yi Chen remembered it, and recognized the 2 children. The time was not much different. Isn't Yahiko and Conan born in the land of rain in the Second Ninja War? Just 2 people, apparently the 2 of them haven't met Nagato yet. I never thought that in any small town in the land of rain, you could directly meet such an important person. If there is no Yahiko, it can be said that there is no Akatsuki organization, and there will be no future things. Yahiko ran away. Conan followed, but she wasn't Yahiko after all. It's okay to steal something, but it's not that easy if you want to grab it and run away after being discovered. The girl was originally weak. It rained all day in the country of rain, the ground was uneven, stepped in a puddle, and was mixed by an inconspicuous hole on the ground. Conan exclaimed, his weak body staggered, and fell directly forward. The long loaf of bread in his hand was also released, and the whole person was about to fall into the muddy water. Yahiko ran forward without finding anything unusual about Conan. And on the lonely street, only Yi Chen was alone. He saw a piece of bread flying towards him, and then the girl in front of him gradually fell down. So which one should he take? Looking at the girl falling towards him and the bread flying in the air, Yi Chen fell into deep thought. Which one should he pick up? 1 second seems short, but it is actually very long. Enough for 1,000 thoughts to cross my mind. If ordinary people see this scene, they may not be so entangled or even ignore it, and walk away with a cold attitude. Yi Chen may also be like this. After all, he is not a caring person. The world of ninja is full of dangers, intrigues, and life-saving first. But now I meet the creator of the most powerful organization in the world of Hokage in the future. Akatsuki Yahiko, Akatsuki Conan. Whether it's Conan, or Yahiko, or maybe Nagato in the future, it's all very important, especially Nagato. Rinnegan, almost in the entire Hokage plot, runs through the main line, and it is also the layout that Uchiha Madara started very early. Almost instantly, Yi Chen had already decided in his heart. Then, a causal relationship is established. I saw that he caught the long loaf of bread with one hand, and suddenly grabbed the other hand, just happened to grab Conan's hand, and lifted her staggered body directly up. Thanks. He was pulled by Yi Chen and didn't fall directly into the muddy water. Conan subconsciously thanked Yi Chen, but his voice was a little low, but it sounded very nice, just like Huang Ying. At this time, she was not the cold ice beauty in the original book. Because she was chased all the way, she was a little out of breath, and her pale face was slightly red. "You're welcome." Yi Chen nodded slightly, let go of his hand, his face was calm, it was just smooth. "Conan, are you all right?" On the other side, Yahiko also noticed the situation behind and ran over to ask, while Conan shook his head. At this moment, the seller of long loaves in the distance finally squeezed out of the crowd and saw the people standing on the street at a glance. "Yi Chen, Conan and Yahiko. Give me 3 of them. They're thieves. They stole my bread," cried the baker, hysterically. Although it was strange how there was one more person, seeing that Yi Chen and Conan were about the same age, he instantly regarded Yi Chen as an accomplice. Afterwards, a few thugs ran out of the crowd, each of them gearing up with bad intentions. Yi Chen was speechless. What's the look of this bread owner? Why does he look like a thief? "Conan, hurry up and grab your broken leg." Yahiko's expression changed in an instant, and when he greeted Conan, he was about to run away. Conan was a little scared, so he hurriedly followed, but he ran a few steps and thought of Yi Chen. "Follow me quickly." Although Yi Chen and her are not in the same group, they are obviously regarded as a group now. If Yi Chen is left behind, if Yi Chen can't explain clearly, he may be severely beaten or even worse. Children without parents and mothers in this era are very miserable and unfortunate. These businessmen are not good people. If they weren't starving, they wouldn't steal bread. Just now, the boy did himself a favor, and he couldn't bear to do it, and Conan couldn't care less. She was kind-hearted and grabbed Yi Chen's arm directly, then dragged Yi Chen and ran away. Yi Chen's expression was a little weird, but he didn't say anything. After letting Conan pull him and run a few steps, he took the initiative to follow her. The 3 were running around in the busy city, especially in the alley. Apparently Conan and Yahiko knew the terrain so well, they quickly got rid of their pursuers and ran all the way out of the town. Whoosh, whoosh. After running out of the town, Yahiko bent down and gasped violently. Conan on the side was the same, but seemed more reserved. As for Yi Chen, he didn't look like he was breathing at all. How could his inhuman physique be comparable to Yahiko? It's just that his eyes kept flickering, as if he was thinking about something, and his eyes looked at the 2 of them. After gasping for a while, Yahiko realized that Yi Chen didn't seem to feel at all, showing a surprised expression. Curiously walked around Yi Chen, he couldn't help but smile and said, "You guys are so strong, you don't feel like running all the way down." And Conan showed an embarrassed expression, looked at Yi Chen, and said, "I'm very sorry, I've troubled you." "It's okay." Yi Chen smiled slightly, this matter was really nothing to him. Then he handed the loaf of bread still in his hand to Conan and said, "This is back to you. Forget it, since you were chased all the way, I'll send you." Conan hesitated, looked at the bread reluctantly, and touched his stomach subconsciously, but still refused. Seeing this, Yi Chen secretly laughed. She is really a kind girl, she would rather starve herself. But he really didn't need that, saying, "I don't." But Conan looked confused. At this time, the bold and decisive Yahiko spoke up. "Conan, just keep it, people obviously don't want this." No wonder Yahiko said that. Without this bread, they would have been hungry for a long time, and even went out and risked breaking their legs to steal once again. Conan looked at Yi Chen embarrassedly, but finally chose to pick it up. "I'm very sorry, we are all orphans, it's not easy to survive in this world, and only in this way can we continue to live." Conan held the bread tightly and whispered, "Actually, I'm an orphan too." Yi Chen suddenly said, but his luck was saved by Konaha, otherwise his situation would not be much better than Yahiko and Conan. Conan obviously didn't expect Yi Chen to say such a word, and immediately looked at Yi Chen in surprise. However, I found that Yi Chen's clothes were very clean and simple, not as full of patches as they were, so I couldn't help but wonder. But she didn't think deeply, even the orphans were not necessarily as miserable as they were, without food. Maybe people also have some small adventures of their own. Yahiko didn't think much of it, but said with a curious look, "You are also an orphan, but you don't seem to be pale and skinny. Why is there such a big gap between orphans? Or you can follow me in the future, and the 3 of us will form a team to do something big." The physical strength of the nightlife is so good, obviously it will not be a burden. If there is Yi Chen's help, the following life may be much better. Many people are powerful, unity is power. Although Yahiko is young, he has long understood that a person's power is limited, and it is impossible to do great things alone. For example, in the big event of stealing bread, if there is one more person, the division of labor will be easier and the probability of success will be greater. For this solicitation, Yi Chen subconsciously wanted to refuse. After all, he is Konaha Anbu, and he has his own mission. However, thinking that he has also assassinated many enemy ninjas during this time, there is no need to be so dedicated to the mission. Yahiko and Konan are both important plot characters, and now that they are familiar with each other, there may be unexpected gains for him in the future. After many considerations, Yi Chen agreed to Yahiko's proposal and temporarily joined their small group. Although this small group is currently only 3 people including him, it will definitely grow in the future. Great, Yahiko laughed and said to Yi Chen, "My name is Yahiko, she is Konan." Yi Chen didn't hide it, and he didn't care what problems his name might cause. His name hasn't reached the level that ordinary people in the land of rain know. "I'll be a partner in the future, come and follow me to see our base," Yahiko said generously. Carefully patted Yi Chen on the shoulder, and then led the way in front of him. Yi Chen was a little uncomfortable looking at Yahiko like this. Because of the habitual image in his memory, he still became pain of heaven. The face that was always indifferent and calm said angrily, "A bag of rice is carried over several floors, and the spicy sky is stunned." The man who blew up the entire Konaha in an instant. Konan nodded slightly to Yi Chen, and then walked forward with Yi Chen. Soon, Yi Chen followed Konan Yahiko to an abandoned cave. It is full of some stolen materials, including food and clothes, etc., which are basically necessities of life. Yi Chen watched this scene with great interest. His family was not bad, but he didn't have anything. From this we can see that Yahiko's personal ability is really excellent. "This is our home. From now on, the 3 of us will depend on each other for life. Anyway, if I have a bite to eat, I will never starve you, Konan." Yi Chen, Yahiko said aggressively, and then gave Yi Chen half an apple he didn't know where he picked up, saying, "It's still fresh, let's eat it." After finishing speaking, Yahiko looked at the apples with dismay. In their country of rain, apples and other fruits can only be enjoyed by the rich, and the poor should not think about it. However, in order to celebrate Yi Chen who had just joined, he was still willing to part with the pain. Looking at the half of the apple, although it was indeed fresh, he couldn't eat it, so he still gave it to Yahiko and said, "I'm not hungry, you should keep it." When Yahiko heard that Yi Chen didn't want to eat it, he subconsciously took back half of the apple. But after taking it, he suddenly realized whether he was too excited, not reserved at all, and scratched his head in embarrassment. Konan stood aside with a smile, his eyes narrowed into crescent moons. "She looks very happy. Maybe she doesn't pursue much, she just wants to be safe and well and everyone is well." To hide the embarrassment, Yahiko pretended to be sophisticated, stood on a crooked stool, and began gushing about the grand scheme like a lecturer. "The first thing we have to do is stock up on what we should be stocking up because we're not sure when we might not be able to get something to eat. In addition, be careful when stealing things. Some people are absolutely not allowed to steal, such as ninjas with iron plates on their heads. Those guys are very scary, and if you provoke them, you will probably be killed directly by them lose." Having said that, Yahiko showed a lingering fear and an expression of fear, as if he had seen a ninja murder scene. Konan on the side was silent for a moment, his expression a little low. The town she was in was almost completely destroyed in the war, her parents died, and she became an orphan and was displaced. As for stealing food, it should be done only if it is a last resort, and even stealing should be done in a crowded place, so think about the escape route in advance, and respond before and after. The most important thing is not to provoke ninjas, because that's true, we'll die. You have to talk incessantly, and your voice is full of emotion. You are worthy of being the spiritual leader of the future Shao organization, and your style is outstanding." However, Yi Chen was not interested in listening, because he had listened to this kind of speech many times in Konaha. That bad old man from 3rd generation likes to talk about these fooling people's flowers, but it's quite reasonable to make people feel excited. Yi Chen couldn't help taking a nap, a rare moment of peace. After speaking, Yahiko found that Yi Chen was already dozing off, as if he hadn't heard a word, and suddenly a black line appeared, showing a pained expression. He couldn't help but jump down and shook Yi Chen's shoulder hard. Hey, are you listening? If you die, don't blame me for not reminding you. Yi Chen, Yahiko is right, those ninjas are something we must not provoke, you must remember this. Konan couldn't help but whispered to Yi Chen, even if he was caught stealing something, he would be beaten at most and injured. But it will definitely be very miserable to provoke those ninjas. We have no strength to fight against them, and we can only be slaughtered by others. Yi Chen looked at the two who cared about him and said, I said I'm a ninja, do you believe me? Quote? Yahiko and Konan were stunned when they heard Yi Chen's words. After that, Yahiko couldn't help laughing, and then said with a big laugh, haha, yes, I'm not pretending anymore, it's a showdown, in fact, I'm also a ninja, and I'm still a Jonin. Konan couldn't help laughing, smiled sweetly, and couldn't help yearning. It would be nice if I could be a ninja, at least I could protect myself. Hearing this, Yi Chen looked at Konan and said, do you really want to release the ninja, Konan? I'm just a commoner. There's no hope. Konan looked lonely. Yeah, it would be great to learn ninjutsu. I will definitely beat up those who are rich and unkind. Yahiko said fiercely. Learn ninjutsu. Yi Chen silently wrote down the words of the two. The sky was getting dark, and the rain in the sky still didn't stop. I don't know when it will stop. A team of 7 Sand Shinobi team walking on a secluded path. One of the leading ninjas looked at the sky, pondered for a moment, and said, it's getting late, don't go any further, to prevent being ambushed by rain shinobi, and search for a place to stay nearby. If it doesn't work, use earth style to build a temporary foothold. The group is searching everywhere. Soon a sand shinobi came back and said, Captain, there is a small abandoned cave not far ahead, which can be used as a temporary foothold. Then let's go together, said Sand Shinobi Captain Shajiro. Inside the cave, Yi Chen, Yahiko, Konan are cooking fire. Although the country of rain is cloudy and rainy, the temperature during the day is not too cold at least, but at night, the temperature drops sharply. The fire is not enough, do you want to add more? Yahiko said, rubbing his hands together, exhaling. I still have some wood at the entrance of the cave, I'll go get it. Konan said proactively. Just walking to the entrance of the cave and picking up the wood, Konan looked out of the cave subconsciously along the entrance of the cave, and couldn't help but froze and stood still. Ninja. Konan didn't move, with a look of shock on his face. How could the ninja get to their secret base, the cave? The location here is very remote, and no one wants to come here at all. It is absolutely safe. Why do ninjas appear here and come to them? What's wrong, Konan? Yahiko showed a strange expression. Seeing Konan unable to move, he couldn't help but get up and walk to the entrance of the cave. Then, his expression instantly froze, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Yi Chen, who was roasting the fire, changed his expression, his heart sank slightly, he sighed helplessly, and then walked over. Outside the abandoned cave, a team of ninjas is standing there, the former Sand Shinobi. None of them entered the cave rashly. Even if they saw Konan and Yahiko appearing at the entrance of the cave, they just quietly observed the movement. Captain, it should be 2 wandering orphans, said a ninja. It's 3, Sand Shinobi said. While speaking, he saw another figure appear behind Konan. He also looks like a child, but he is much better in both height and physique. It's just that 3 ordinary homeless orphans happened to be met by their own team. Yahiko's heart was trembling slightly, and he was too frightened to move. As he himself said, whoever offends must not provoke ninjas, otherwise it will definitely be finished. Now as the boss, I have to do something, all kinds of thoughts flashed in my mind. Yahiko gritted his teeth, boldly walked out of the abandoned cave, and took the initiative to come to the team of Sand Shinobi ninjas. Yahiko, Konan couldn't help exclaiming, he really didn't expect Yahiko to make such a move. Seeing this, Yi Chen shook his head slightly. According to the rules of the ninja world, if the location is exposed during the mission, all witnesses must be dealt with in order not to leak information. And now during the war, this iron law is even more strictly enforced, preferring to kill civilians by mistake, not to mention homeless orphans. Yi Chen swept the Sand Shinobi team. There were 7 people in total, 3 were Chunin, and the rest were genin with average strength. The one in the lead with the red striped oil paint on his face should be the strongest, with the strength of elite Chunin, and the others are normal Chunin. In order to protect Konan and Yi Chen, Yahiko bravely stepped forward, took a deep breath, looked at the Sand Shinobi ninjas, and said, "Everyone, if you want something, you can give it all to you, and this cave can also let you here, we can get out of here." Yahiko had no idea of letting these ninjas go, because he knew it was impossible. He just said it in a low, pleading tone. The ninjas didn't respond to Yahiko's words, but looked at each other. "Captain, there shouldn't be an ambush in this cave, what should we do now?" "Let these 3 little devils leave," said the next man. "No," Sajiro shook his head. "We can't let our position be exposed, and we would rather kill by mistake than let it go." "Yes." Sand Shinobi's face is cold and cold-blooded. "What?" Yahiko was immediately stunned. Did he kill someone if he didn't agree? This world, really not reconciled, but how can a child of oneself be the opponent of this group of ninjas, and Konan? This is the world of ninja world, the rules of the bloody ninja world. The strong rule life and death and make rules. The weak can only obey, or die. Yi Chen was still calm, he had long expected this result. Konan on the side also turned pale, the rain washed her blue hair into a mess, but she didn't even notice it, and there was only a look of horror on her pretty face. Even faintly feeling desperate, in front of the ninja, it is impossible to resist, and it is impossible to escape. In addition to despair, she couldn't help but glance at Yi Chen next to her, and she couldn't help but feel an incomparable apology in her heart. If Yi Chen hadn't been brought in, Yi Chen should still be in that small town at this time, instead of falling into the current desperate situation. A Sand Shinobi stepped forward, a kunai appeared in his hand at some point. Yahiko's pupils clenched, and he secretly hated. Between life and death, he was so frightened that he couldn't move, his whole body was probably sweating, and his body was shaking uncontrollably. Out of the corner of his eye he caught a glimpse of Konan, Yi Chen. A power that rose from nowhere emerged from the bottom of my heart. It's better to give it a shot than to catch it. Of course he doesn't consider himself a ninja opponent. He just wanted to give Yi Chen and Konan a chance to escape. Yi Chen's physical strength is higher than himself, and he can definitely take Konan away and bring him to a safe place. "Yi Chen, run with Konan." Saying that, Yahiko ignored himself and ran directly to the Sand Shinobi, holding Sand Shinobi's legs tightly, preventing him from taking a step forward. "Yahiko." Konan looked sad. Sajiro didn't expect that the mere street children would dare to resist his subordinates, and immediately said, "The right door, don't waste time, solve them." Sand Shinobi looked indifferent on the right side and said, "Little devil, since you are so anxious to die, I will do it for you. If you want to blame it, you are from the wrong country." After he finished speaking, the kuwu in his hand stabbed down mercilessly. Yahiko looked at this sharp kunai, his pupils dilated and his face was horrified. "Are you going to die? Really unwilling? Jerk ninja, jerk world. Konan, Yi Chen, you must escape." Clang, a crisp metal clashing sound came. "Call out." A strong wind gusted, and the wind howled. Yahiko's eyes widened. Kunwu was even an inch away from his own eyes, but he didn't move, with a look of disbelief on his face. Konan was shocked. Sajiro's expression stiffened, and he said, "How is that possible?" The right door looked at his own kunai, and then looked at the figure that suddenly appeared beside him. A hell of a look. The picture freezes at this moment, Yi Chen shot. At this moment, Yi Chen's arm grabbed the arm of the right door, making him unable to move. Yi Chen. For some reason, at this moment, a light appeared in Yahiko's pupils, as if he suddenly understood something. "Let go, kid." The right door shouted loudly, and the other arm threw a punch. "Be careful," Yahiko reminded quickly. Then Yi Chen raised his head, a red light appeared in his pupils, conquerors opened. The power of the domineering conquerors spreads directly. The body of the right door flew out, was directly hit by an invisible force, and fell to the ground powerless. Looking at the expression on the right door, the eyes are slack and sluggish. Although he didn't die, he was shaken by Conqueror's Haki and turned into an idiot. Seeing this scene, the Sand Shinobi team's expressions changed greatly. Sajiro looked solemn and said slowly, "Ninja." Yi Chen ignored it, but reached out and pulled Yahiko, calmly said, "It's okay." Yahiko stretched out his hand and let Yi Chen pull it up. This moment, this scene, he will never forget. Although Yi Chen looked at the Sand Shinobi team with a grim expression, murderers, people will always kill them. Team leader, Sand Shinobi's face was horrified, and it was hard to imagine that the child who had just returned harmless to humans and animals killed one of their teammates in an instant. And the method is extremely strange, and you don't know what happened at all. Sajiro's eyes were solemn, and then a cold smile appeared on his face full of dark red oil stripes, and said, "Let's do it together and kill them." Hearing this, Sand Shinobi Ninja immediately shot. Wind style, blade of wind. Fire style, great fireball technique. Fire style, fire bullets. Wind breaks. ... For a time, the remaining 6 ninjas used ninjutsu to attack. Because they are all genin, the ninjutsu they issue is not a high-level ninjutsu. But a few people shot together, and the ninjutsu is superimposed, and the power should not be underestimated. The wind blade strikes, the flame burns. The wind helps the fire, and the fire borrows the wind. In an instant, the flame soared several feet out of thin air, turning into a giant pillar of flame. When the explosion strikes, everything will be destroyed. Yahiko, where has Conan ever seen such a scene? He was so scared that his face was bloodless. Yi Chen took a step forward, passed between the two, and came to the front of the fusion of fire-style ninjutsu. With a very calm expression, Yi Chen made a very simple movement, that is, clenching a fist and throwing a fist. That's right, it's a punch. But it's not the punch you see. In an instant, the armor of LV4 covered the arm, and 20% of the compression force was condensed on the punch. Yi Chen's right arm instantly turned into dark red-black iron, wisps of white steam entangled, and the terrifying power condensed a little. Suddenly hit the void in front of you. With one punch, the world is turned upside down in an instant. Boom! The terrifying and pure power erupted with a bang, and the ground in front of Yi Chen cracked open in an instant, and spread to the front, constantly shattering. The sound is terrifying. As for that wind-fire-style fusion ninjutsu, it is like destroying the grass and pulling the rotten, and it is defeated by a single blow, as if a slap slapped out a zumiao. Even the rain that fell from the sky was all stagnant at this moment, and all collapsed with a bang. Everything in front of them seems to be pushed straight by this punch. All of Sand Shinobi's bodies suddenly froze, including Chun and Sajiro, with expressions of astonishment and disbelief on their faces. Because Yi Chen's punch is so terrifying. At that moment, it felt unreal, and the space was distorted by that supreme force. It was as shocking as a mirror cracked. And that terrifying and violent power has already made them feel the terror of dying. Sajiro has only experienced this feeling in third case cage. But third case cage is known as the strongest case cage, but that is the other powerhouse in cage level. How is it possible for this kid in front of him? But anyway, his intuition is not wrong. Run away, run away. Otherwise, the whole army will be wiped out. Then it's too late. Yi Chen is here, just like Shinigami. The speed of shaving, the thunder attribute chakra instantly activates the cells, and the speed is increased again. At this moment, Yi Chen turned into lightning. There was a crackling sound in the right hand, and a thunder sword composed of the thunder attribute chakra nature transformation. The shape change was formed in an instant. Cut, laugh. With a flash of sword light, a ninja's head flew upside down, and blood shot up. Whoosh! Electric lights flickered, and Yi Chen's figure appeared in every corner in an instant. And every time it appears, it must be accompanied by the fall of a Sand Shinobi ninja. Either beheaded, cut in half, or smashed to pieces by lightning. 2 or 3 breaths, all Sand Shinobi died except Sajiro. You. Sajiro kept retreating, his mouth was dry, and he was enveloped by a huge fear. Look around, all the stumps and blood of teammates. At this moment, Yi Chen has become the Anbu Rakshasa who slaughtered ninjas like pigs and dogs, chopped melons and vegetables. Yi Chen's mind was extremely peaceful, the White Fang's profound meaning of swordsmanship emerged in his heart, and with his own understanding, he was almost as blessed as the soul, waving the chakra thunder sword, and said coldly. Thunder cut sword, hold head high, a sound like a phoenix chirping. The chakra thunder sword in Yi Chen's hand stretched 7 or 8 meters in an instant. A sword swung down, like an electric light cutting through the void. Sajiro hurriedly used earth-style defense, and his body was protected by rocks. But in just an instant, this hard rock was cut in half. Sajiro was also directly split into two pieces by the thunder-chopping sword. The corpse was separated. The entire battle process ended very quickly. Without even a single Jonin, Yi Chen killed his opponents effortlessly. At this moment, the entire front of the rain had been swept away by a sword, and a rare empty scene appeared. After a few breaths, the rain began to fall again. At this moment, Konan and Yahiko behind Yi Chen were already there. They just felt like they were dreaming. Unbelievable. Yi Chen's strength is so strong. They look similar in age. Yi Chen, you. Yahiko stammered when he spoke, and he looked at Yi Chen with an unbelievable look in his eyes. Konan on the other side was similar, with a shocking light flashing in her beautiful eyes, and she held her hands tightly. Well, didn't you just say that I'm a ninja? But you don't believe it. Yi Chen turned around and looked at Konan and Yahiko, showing helplessness. How does this expression look like the Rakshasa who just slaughtered San Shinobi? You are actually a ninja, I thought you were joking. Yahiko murmured, only to feel that the world was spinning and he was about to faint. Moreover, they are all ninjas, so the gap is too big. Yi Chen looked at Konan and shrugged at this. I tell you, but don't blame me for not believing. Konan was so shocked that it was difficult to describe how he felt at the moment. In addition to being shocked, Yahiko suddenly thought of something, and his face turned pale again. Since Yi Chen's strength is so strong, Yi Chen's identity must be extraordinary. This is not the same as revealing your identity. San Shinobi just wanted to kill them just for the sake of revealing their identity and location. So will he and Konan be killed again? Konan also thought of this, and just showed the expression of the rest of his life, and then turned pale for a moment. Yahiko couldn't help but took 2 steps back, while Konan didn't step back. She knew it was useless to step back, she could only resign. Noticing the change in the expressions of the two, Yi Chen was expressionless at first, then suddenly chuckled and said, don't think too much, go and pack up, we can't live here any longer. Call. Seeing that Yi Chen is still the previous Yi Chen, he did not instantly become indifferent and murderous because he exposed his identity as a ninja. Yahiko breathed a sigh of relief instantly, and sure enough, there are still many gaps between people. Some people choose to kill, others choose other paths. However, despite this, he couldn't be like before. He came over and put his arms around Yi Chen's shoulders. In the ninja world, the level is also very strict. Yi Chen is a ninja, they are ordinary people, and there is an insurmountable gap between them. Konan on the side, there was a bit of blood on the pretty face again. After pursing her lips, she showed a grateful expression at Yi Chen. Thanks. She knew that Yi Chen didn't need to be with them at all, and there was no need to save them. But Yi Chen was still saved, although I don't know what Yi Chen thought, but it doesn't matter anymore. Moreover, Yi Chen's sword slashed everything before, and the scene that was extremely overbearing and shocking was still lingering in her mind. Yi Chen smiled slightly and said, no need to thank me. Although I am also a ninja, there are differences between ninjas and ninjas. After that, they cleaned up and left the abandoned cave. As for San Shinobi's body, the daring Yahiko set it on fire. Then they found a very secluded place. This time with Yi Chen's help, they built a simple cabin. In the process of building the wooden house, Yi Chen suddenly envied Yamato's wood style, 3 rooms and 1 living room technique. Gee, in the future, I don't know if I can get a wood style to play with. The wooden house was built, but unfortunately, I didn't meet Nagato with Rinnegan along the way. Yi Chen doesn't know if he will meet Uzumaki Nagato now, and Nagato is unlikely to die anyway. Rinnegan was on him. If there was no white Zetsu staring at Nagato secretly, even Yi Chen himself would not believe it. In the wooden house, Yi Chen, here. Konan handed a cup full of water to Yi Chen with a respectful expression on his face. Yi Chen took the cup, took a sip, and couldn't help smiling. With strength, this treatment is completely different, he said. You sit down first. Konan sat obediently to the side, looking at Konan, who was very obedient, like a gentle and considerate little daughter-in-law. Yi Chen smiled dumbly, feeling a little uncomfortable. However, Konan was very obedient and well-behaved. Besides, with strength, of course, there will be a corresponding status. Now Yi Chen is no longer an ant after all, and his prestige among Anbu is only under White Fang. Yahiko is sitting opposite Yi Chen, hesitating to speak. Yi Chen sees Yahiko's expression, he doesn't know what this guy is thinking. But there is no point, and no direct statement. In the end, Yahiko couldn't bear it anymore and said eagerly and sincerely, Yi Chen, please teach me and Konan ninjutsu. There was a trace of prayer and hope in Yahiko's eyes. In this troubled world, it is really difficult for ordinary people to protect themselves. And if you want to become a ninja, you can't find any way. Now there is an opportunity in front of you, even if Yi Chen doesn't agree, Yahiko must ask, otherwise he will still be unwilling. The interior of the wooden house fell silent in an instant, and even Konan couldn't help clenching his sleeves, feeling nervous. In the original Hokage, Yahiko, Konan, and Nagato were rescued by Sannin Jiraiya and taught ninjutsu. Since then, the three children have learned ninjutsu and become independent ninjas, and later established a special organization for nuclear peace, Akatsuki. That is to say, the fate of the three of them is now changed after meeting Nagato. But Nagato hasn't appeared yet. Yahiko will let Yi Chen teach ninjutsu. Although this matter is nothing to Yi Chen. But if ninjutsu is taught now, will Yahiko's fate be changed, resulting in a butterfly effect, which will lead to a big change in the fate of the whole world. But soon Yi Chen stopped thinking about this issue. He traveled to this world, and it was already the biggest variable. He didn't care about his future destiny. As long as he was all right, there was nothing to worry about. Yi Chen glanced at Yahiko, his eyes flickered slightly, and then he looked at Konan next to him. He noticed that Konan's eyes were also somewhat hopeful. Yi Chen has already made a decision in his heart. As for the plot, get out. He looked at Yahiko and Sannin, and said calmly, I want to become a ninja, beyond my own, and change my destiny. It is not an easy and pleasant thing. The process is very difficult, and strength is not so easy to obtain. Everything has a price. No matter how hard things are, I have gone through it. Yahiko's eyes flickered with a sigh, with a firmness in his tone, and Konan on the side had the same eyes, no regrets. Indeed, there is nothing more difficult than being an orphan and struggling to survive in a chaotic world. Yi Chen felt the same way even in Konaha. This world is extremely exclusive. If he is not a genius ninja, I am afraid that Konoha's people have a different attitude towards him, and he is always clear and rational about his own positioning. He finally nodded, agreeing to Yahiko's request. Seeing Yi Chen agree, Yahiko finally breathed a sigh of relief, and then showed a smile, and Konan on the side was also grateful, looking at Yi Chen. Well, then let's start with the most basic. Yi Chen took a sip of water, then put the cup aside and began to tell a simple story. First of all, what is chakra? Do you understand? Yi Chen asked. I don't know. Yahiko, Konan shook their heads, confused. They didn't have contact with the ninja world, so naturally they didn't know what chakra was. Most of them had heard of it. Chakra is an energy produced by the perfect fusion of spiritual energy and physical energy, an energy that has undergone many practices, accumulated experience and exercise. The first step to becoming a ninja is to extract chakra, and if you succeed in extracting chakra, it means you can become a ninja. If you can't extract it, you won't be able to become a ninja. Yi Chen said. Yahiko got nervous for a while, but he didn't expect that being a ninja would be so strict. What if I didn't extract chakra? Yi Chen didn't know what Yahiko was thinking, and continued, now I teach you how to extract chakra. Afterwards, he explained some of the basics that Konaha had taught in the classroom to the two of them, and for the sake of their understanding, he repeated it several times. Meditation is the best way to extract chakra. You must be mindful, feel every part of your body, every inch of your breath. After that, the next thing is much simpler, just wait for the two to extract chakra. Yi Chen, who knows the original book, naturally knows that Yahiko and Konan can't be beaten by this level. After all, he is the leader of the future Akatsuki organization, so how could he be a muggle? It's just that the time to extract chakra is short, half a day, 1 day, 2 days. The slow 10 days and a half months. If it exceeds a month, then basically you have no ninja qualifications and can only be ordinary people. While instructing Yahiko and Konan in their practice, Yi Chen did not let go of his own practice at the same time. He was just at the first stage of cell activation, and he was not as profound in cultivation as White Fang. How could such a rare and peaceful period of time be wasted? Also, while practicing and mentoring Konan Yahiko, Yi Chen was not completely isolated from the world. I still often go to some nearby towns, hunt some ninjas, get information and buy some food. Yahiko and Konan are hungry and thin and need some nutritious food to nourish their bodies. Gradually, more than half a month passed, and the situation of the Second Ninja World War finally became more and more intense. Yi Chen's most obvious feeling is that he has encountered more and more ninjas, and even the whole country of Rain is full of ninjas, which is chilling, and the people are struggling. And Rain Shinobi Village, the land of Rain, has already begun to resist and counterattack under the leadership of Hanzo of the Salamander. The figure of the summoning beast Sanshoyu appeared in various areas of the battlefield, and many corpses of ninjas poisoned by the Sanshoyu were exposed in the wild. Because the Sansho fish is very poisonous, even if you touch the poisoned ninja, you will be infected. Although Hanzo and the three great ninja villages have some unknown contacts, it is secret. On the bright side, as the ruler of the land of Rain, he has to do something no matter what. The display of strength makes the three major ninja villages currently participating in the war fearful and seek greater benefits in it. The war is in full swing, and Yi Chen is still living a very ordinary life, practicing on time, guiding Konan and Yahiko to practice on time, and going out to hunt ninjas to obtain information on time. As for Yahiko and Konan, they have also practiced chakra, and it only took less than 3 days. Konan is faster, 2.5 days. Yahiko's chakra is the same as in the original, it is still water and fire. As for Konan's chakra, it does not belong to the 5 attributes of chakra. Yi Chen guessed that it is yin attribute. Of course, this does not mean that Konan can use yin escape. Like many esoteric ninja families, such as the Nara family's shadow control, the Aburame family's insect control, Konan's chakra is suitable for esoteric manipulation of paper, perhaps because she usually likes to origami paper cranes. Everything is exactly the same as the original. Yi Chen doesn't know much ninjutsu, but he has seen a lot of ninjutsu, and he has also killed many ninjas. I found a lot of fire style, water style ninjutsu from those people's items, and Yahiko has learned a lot during this time. Konan can actually use 5 attribute ninjutsu, but she prefers paper escape, and is also good at developing ninjutsu. Yi Chen can only teach some advice and experience too. Although the country of Rain is often cloudy and rainy, there are occasional times when it does not rain, but it is still cloudy. In an open space, Konan was surrounded by countless pieces of paper suspended in the air, but it had no power. Now she can only control a little bit of paper. Chakra has great control, much better than Yahiko. Standing behind Konan, Yi Chen watched this scene and couldn't help but sighed in admiration. In fact, in the Hokage world, female ninjas are basically more dominant than male ninjas. Mr. Yi Chen. Hearing Yi Chen's voice, Konan turned around and gave Yi Chen an embarrassed smile, seemingly blaming himself for being too devoted to his practice and not paying attention. At the same time, all the pieces of paper floating around her fell to the ground. Yi Chen nodded slightly. After teaching Yahiko and Konan ninjutsu, Konan has already started to call Mr. Yi Chen, although Yi Chen doesn't like this title very much. Because according to their real age, they are not much different in age. It's just that Yi Chen has experienced a lot, and he still has a mature soul and mind. Mr. Yi Chen, look. Konan waved at Yi Chen a little bit like a little girl got the baby and showed it off. I saw a piece of paper. 2 pieces of paper were suspended in front of her, and then under her control, they were constantly bent and folded, and finally turned into 1,000 paper cranes. Yi Chen's expression of admiration for this control is no less than that of Chunin. Teacher, here it is for you. Konan's pretty face was slightly blushing, and she gently used chakra to control the paper flower to fly towards Yi Chen. But after all, it wasn't long before he practiced, so this kind of ability to shield objects from the sky is not pure. Halfway through the flight, Chen Jihei feebly fell to the ground. Yi Chen stretched out his hand to take Qian Jihei, and looked at Konan. There was a blushing look on the girl's face. Obviously the scene was a little embarrassing just now. I wanted to surprise the teacher, but I didn't expect it to fail. Keep working hard, I appreciate your kindness. Yi Chen said, looking at the chenjahe in his hand. Yes. Konan bowed his head, complied, and continued to practice chakra. Yi Chen went to see Yahiko's practice again. Since this guy has practiced fire-style ninjutsu, he seems to have awakened some kind of destructive desire of a middle-aged boy. Open your mouth and breathe fire at every turn, leaving a mess in the end. In fact, Yi Chen felt that Yahiko's talent in water style should be stronger than fire style. Maybe it rains every day in the country of rain, Yahiko doesn't like water style subconsciously. With a little instruction, he himself went to practice. It's a pity that the time of peace and quiet is always short-lived. In the evening a week later, I finished guiding Yahiko and Konan outside. Yi Chen returned to the wooden house, his expression changed, and at some point there was a scroll on the small wooden table. This scroll is specially made by Konaha Anbu and requires a special handprint to unlock it. Although Yi Chen has been reclusive during this time, the contact between Yi Chen and Anbu Scout has not been broken, so it is not surprising that the other party knows his position. After unwrapping the contents of the scroll, Yi Chen casually glanced at the contents above, his eyes suddenly froze, and a fierce aura emanated from his whole body. This is the news from the third generation, the general content, in order to cover Jiraiya, Orochimaru. Tsunade was ambushed by Rock Shinobi and forced into the hinterland of the Rain Country. The situation is critical and needs Yi Chen's rescue. It is urgent. Close black lens bracket. Yi Chen's hand gripped the scroll tightly, almost pinching the scroll, and Tsunade's image appeared in his mind. Even an elite Jonin like Tsunade couldn't protect himself in the Second Ninja World War. Mr. Yi Chen, what's wrong with you? At this time, a weak voice came from the door. It was Yahiko and Konan. They were caught by Yi Chen's aura just now, their faces turned pale with fright. You must know that Yi Chen has at least 100 lives on his hands, and his murderous aura has been condensed, and it is difficult for ordinary people to resist. Worrying about Tsunade's safety just now, I didn't control my murderous aura for a while. Therefore, the two people were trapped, like falling into an ice cellar, and their souls would be frozen, which is really terrifying. Konan, Yahiko, I'm leaving. Yi Chen restrained his momentum and said slowly, a little helpless. At night, the silent hut was burning with firewood, and the whole house was illuminated by fire, and it was warm. Grumpy, Yi Chen, Yahiko, Konan sat in a circle, with a stone pot stewing in the middle. There are mushrooms, coriander, meat pieces, tomatoes and other foods in the stone pot, and the aroma is overflowing, and the taste is rich and mouth-watering. But Yahiko and Konan were not happy at all, because they were going to leave when they got Yi Chen, and they were very reluctant. Both are orphans, and only Yi Chen treats them with sincerity, and even teaches ninjutsu. Mr. Yi Chen, when are you leaving? Yahiko asked. In fact, he usually doesn't take the initiative to call Mr. Yi Chen, because it sounds awkward, and Yi Chen didn't force him or even didn't want him to call him so he seldom called him so solemnly. Tomorrow morning at the latest, which means today is the last night. In fact, I have nothing to teach you, because you are no longer ordinary people and have the power to protect yourself. Yi Chen said calmly. Oh, the two of them lowered their heads, drooping their heads, and their interest was low. Konan squeezed the corner of his clothes tightly, trying to say something but couldn't say it anyway, but his eyes were wet and his mood was complicated. Hurry up and eat dinner. Today, I went out to buy some meat. You guys should nourish your body. If you want to become an excellent and powerful ninja, you must eat well and nourish your body. Yi Chen said immediately, giving it to him by himself. The two served a bowl of mushroom stewed broth. Konan, Yahiko smiled reluctantly, but still obediently ate a big bowl of broth with tears in his eyes. After dinner, without saying anything, they went to rest. Yi Chen walked outside the house, only to find that Yahiko and Konan were standing outside. He couldn't help but say, why are you still not sleeping? Even if I'm not here, you can't slack off in your cultivation. Mr. Yi Chen, you are leaving tomorrow, we can't sleep. Yahiko said. Mr. Yi Chen, when are you coming back? How long are you going? Konan asked with courage. There was a bit of disappointment on her face. In fact, what she wanted to ask was whether Yi Wanchen would come back and if there was a time to meet again. No accident, I should be back. Yi Chen said without hesitation. The Second Ninja World War lasted for several years, and the location was in the Land of Rain. After completing the mission, he might choose to return here to rest for a while. Really? Conan smiled. Although he was still disappointed, he still had expectations. Yi Chen looked at the two of them and said with a smile, "Since you can't sleep, then talk about your ideals and what you want to do in the future. Of course, you can also ask me." "Okay," Yahiko agreed. The three of them sat on the threshold of the log cabin. The house was brightly lit, but it was covered with dark clouds outside. "Yahiko, what are your ideals?" Yi Chen asked seemingly casually. Yahiko immediately stood up, walked in front of the two, and said to himself, "I want to change the world. I hope that there will be no wars in this world. People can live and work in peace and contentment, and can live in peace, just like the first dawn in the east, full of light and hope." "Great idea, but you have to have strength to realize your dream," Yi Chen said. What Yahiko said was basically inseparable from what he had guessed. "Of course, before that, I will practice hard and strive to become a powerful ninja. Teacher Yi Chen, don't slack off, maybe I will surpass you in the future," Yahiko said loudly, full of confidence. "Yahiko, you are bragging again. How can you surpass Teacher Yi Chen?" Conan couldn't help but said. "Conan, I take the teacher as the goal of my efforts. I don't want to surpass it, but if I surpass the teacher, I will be ashamed," Yahiko said mischievously. "Ha ha ha." Yi Chen was amused by Yahiko. His cold face rarely showed a smile, and said, "I'm waiting for you to surpass, Yahiko. But as a teacher, I will also move forward, and will not stand still." "Then we agreed," Yahiko said excitedly. Yi Chen nodded, then asked Conan, "Conan, what is your wish?" Conan didn't expect the teacher to ask himself, so he lowered his head quickly, a little nervous. "What's the matter, Conan? Let's talk about it," Yahiko said carelessly. In the end, Conan plucked up his courage and whispered, "I don't have the ideal of changing the world like Yahiko, I just want you, Teacher Yi Chen is safe. This is my greatest wish." After speaking, the smile on Yahiko's face disappeared, and he silently sat back to his seat and sighed. "What about you, teacher? What wishes?" Conan asked. Yahiko also looked curious and looked over. Yi Chen looked up at the sky and said, "I have too many wishes. Even if I say it last night, I can't finish it, so everyone go back and rest." "Teacher, you are so bad. Talking doesn't count," Yahiko said involuntarily. "Yes, so what?" Yi Chen smiled, with an expression like "you can't help me." Yahiko was defeated directly, and he knew that he was being tricked. It's a shame that he just talked about his ideals emotionally. He. Conan covered his face and smiled, if only this moment could be in front of him forever. It was not until very late that the teacher and the two disciples dispersed and went to rest. Yi Chen returned to the room, but he didn't rest, and rescuing Tsunade was probably going to be another tough battle, so he had to quickly improve his strength. He opens his properties panel. Open black lens bracket host, Yi Chen. Abilities: Conqueror's Haki LV3, Observation Haki LV3, Armament Haki LV4, Tornado Profound Truth LV3, Shaved LV3, Moonwalk LV3, 10,000 experience points are required to upgrade to the next level. Fruit: Mara Fruit LV4, it takes 50,000 experience to upgrade to the next level. Weapon: Great Sword, Yan Mo. Express: 12,250,000. Killing the Sand Shinobi team before gave him some experience and a silver treasure chest. It's just that I have been teaching Yahiko and Conan ninjutsu for a while, so I don't have time to watch it. I will be leaving tomorrow, and I just used the power-up today. First, spend 10,000 experience to upgrade LV3 to LV4. He didn't upgrade Conquerors, and after weighing the pros and cons, in the Ninja World battlefield, the effect of seeing and seeing is more important to him. Because the battlefield is full of unknown crises, seeing and hearing can perceive the crisis and prepare for it in advance. When Observation Haki was upgraded to LV4, Yi Chen's body couldn't help trembling, and a more mysterious feeling filled his heart. All sounds were silent, but the sound of all things continued to flow into his ears, as if from the perspective of God. Too many subtle sounds enter the ear, or the force of nature full of nature can be perceived more clearly. Immerse yourself in it for a while and feel the changes brought to him by Observation Haki. After upgrading Observation Haki, Yi Chen opened the silver treasure chest again. As expected, the contents of the treasure chest are a skill card. 2 Swords Stream, 72 Troubled Winds. This sword technique is an upgraded version of the 36 troubled winds of one sword flow. If the 36 troubled winds are a knife that cuts out 36 paths and forms a uzumaki, then the second knife flow is to use 2 knives. The knife gas is superimposed, faster, more accurate, and stronger. Yi Chen directly uses the skill card to understand the 72 troubles of the second sword style. The night passed quickly, and the next morning, Yahiko and Konan got up early and prepared breakfast. Yi Chen was slightly moved when he saw this scene, but didn't say anything. When leaving, basically everything that should be explained has been explained. Konan is calm, well-behaved and sensible, and he is very relieved. It's just that Yahiko's personality is flamboyant and impulsive for good things. He is worried and said, "Be careful, don't expose that you are already ninjas, don't use ninjutsu to show off, you will be fine." "It's definitely not going to happen, teacher, don't worry, don't you understand my character?" Yahiko smiled shyly, but it was obvious that he still had such thoughts in his mind. After all, he is a child. He learned ninjutsu and became a ninja. Of course, he still has some mentality to show off. Children still have vanity. Yi Chen stopped talking, put on the Rakshasa mask, turned around and left quickly. There is not much time delay. Tsunade is dangerous and don't know what the situation is, hope it doesn't happen. Although in the original book, Tsunade survived until the finale, which means that this crisis can definitely be overcome. But just in case, if the butterfly effect of his appearance changes the fate of some people, so he dare not relax. In the back, Konan looked at Yi Chen's disappearing back, with a hint of disappointment on his small face, and sighed softly. Seeing this, Yahiko said comfortingly, "Konan, teacher Yi Chen's strength is so strong, there will be nothing wrong, and he will definitely come back to us after finishing his business." Konan nodded lightly, thinking of Yi Chen's powerful strength. She also raised some confidence. Indeed, even if they died, Yi Chen should not die, and she should be more worried about her own safety. Before teacher Yi Chen came back, they protected their safety and saw the teacher completely. Dark clouds enveloped the sky, with a depressing and gloomy aura. In a dense forest, a large number of Rock Shinobi ninjas wearing forehead protectors are searching around. However, this forest is so big that it can be regarded as a forest. Even if there are many sentient ninjas among the Rock Shinobi ninjas, it is still not so easy to find anything. Absolutely can't let that woman escape, kill her, and you can inflict heavy damage on Konaha. Rock Shinobi, who led the team, was a strong brown-skinned man named Yan Tu, but Rock Shinobi Jonin, an elite Jonin. This Rock Shinobi team is one of the 3 elite teams of Rock Shinobi Village, in addition to 1 elite Jonin, 2 Jonin and 1 special Jonin. A total of 4 Jonin, 12 Chunin, and the rest are Genin, a total of 32 people. It can be said that the momentum is huge. The sentient ninjas of Rock Shinobi spread out, carefully sensing where chakra appears. A Jonin stone beside the rock looked angry. Our Rock Shinobi elite team ambushed a Konaha elite Jonin. It should have been a matter of hand, but the blonde woman just made a bloody way. After escaping to this dense forest, it has completely delayed the battle until now. Ashiki said, of course Tsunade. Originally, Rock Shinobi and San Shinobi temporarily united to ambush Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Tsunade, the 3 third-generation proud disciples. Originally, the 3 elite Jonin were not afraid of the collaboration between Rock Shinobi and San Shinobi. It's a pity that Hanzo of the Salamander got in the way, and Jiraiya was poisoned by the jasmine fish, which is at stake. So Sannin is no match for the combination of Rock Shinobi and San Shinobi. Of course, now Tsunade, Orochimaru and the others can't be considered Sannin, because they haven't fought Hanzo Ultimate yet, and they haven't received Hanzo's praise. In order to cover his 2 companions and find the poisonous antidote for the Sancho fish, Tsunade left alone to attract firepower. Now being pursued by Rock Shinobi, the situation is extremely critical. The face of the rock changed, and he said, "It's impossible to find it, the forest is near the Rain Shinobi village, that woman can't escape there, and she must be killed to avenge our brothers." Quote. During the pursuit, one of their Jonin was directly killed by Tsunade's iron fist. So currently their team has only 3 Jonin, Chunin Genin and so on. Meanwhile, at the other end of the forest. Behind a dense forest of vines, Tsunade hid behind him, gasping for breath, regaining his strength. Of course, the surrounding environment is still constantly sensed, and the body is relaxed, but the spirit is not slack. At this moment, even she looked very embarrassed. Jonin's vest was damaged, and she didn't even want to spend chakra for some minor injuries. At this time, if you can save a little chakra, save a little physical strength, you will have a better chance of survival. Tsunade is thinking about how to get out, but his expression is getting more and more bleak. If you go further to the forest, you will be close to Rain Shinobi village after exiting the forest. There must be a large number of Rain Shinobi there, and there is no life at all if you hit them head on. However, the other 3 directions almost have Rock Shinobi, Sand Shinobi Ninja. As for support, Konaha's high-end combat power Orochimaru, Jiraiya are all inseparable. Hitaki Tsukumo, as the commander-in-chief, couldn't have arrived at all. As for the Uchiha clan on the frontal battlefield, they wish they were dead. The only people who can save her now are the Hyuga clan. Having said this, Tsunade leaned back, leaned his body on the vine, and took a deep breath. In fact, she didn't hold out much hope, and at this moment her mood was inexplicably quiet. What Tsunade didn't know was that at the edge of the forest, Yi Chen was coming at full speed. The scroll given by 3rd generation has already marked the area where Tsunade is probably locked, which is the forest in front of you. It's a pity that Yi Chen is doing the support mission alone. If there is a Hyuga clan nearby to assist him, he should be able to locate Tsunade very quickly. But even if there is no White Eye, Yi Chen's perception ability is not weaker than White Eye. The perception of LV4 seeing and hearing colors covers a range of 1,500 meters. This is what he has personally tested. That is to say, with Yi Chen as the center, everyone and objects within 1,500 cannot escape the perception and positioning of seeing, hearing, and color. White eyes need to see to locate, and this kilometer of seeing and hearing is like a field, radar. Anything within range can be positioned instantly. Over time, Rock Shinobi's side is frantically searching for Tsunade. If they couldn't find Tsunade, wouldn't their sacrifice of Jonin, Chunin mean nothing? The Jonin in each village are high-end talents, the number is limited, and they are indispensable in the War of Ninja world. Now Rock Shinobi is lost, plus a team of Rock Shinobi not long ago has been wiped out. In the end, I didn't find out who the perpetrator was, which is the most angry thing. It can be said that in the early days of the Ninja World War, the ones who suffered heavy losses were Rock Shinobi. Several Jonin were killed in action, and Genin did not count them, but it was definitely a scalp-numbing number. If they can't achieve merit and kill Tsunade, then they will face the wrath of 3rd Tsuchikage Onogi, and the punishment is extremely severe. Captain, found bloodline. Perception Ninja confirmed it was Konaha Jonin Tsunade. A Rock Shinobi ran to the rock. Okay, Tsunade must be not far away. The rock face showed excitement, commanding his subordinates. Everyone starts a carpet search. With an order, the search of dozens of ninjas intensified again. Just a few hundred meters away, among the vines, Tsunade saw Rock Shinobi approaching her with a worried expression. Because of some minor injuries she did not treat in time, in order to save chakra, these minor injuries gathered together at this time, explosive force, and the situation was extremely critical. Looks like I'm really going to die this time. I found the antidote for the Sancho fish, but I can't take it back. I don't know if Jiraiya can hold it. Death, this time it was finally her turn. This is the fate of the ninja, she should have expected this day. It's just that it's not her Tsunade's style to wait until you die. Rather than search the north, it's better to use the last ounce of strength to escape. Tsunade has no intention of turning back at all, he is running away with all his strength. It can be said that he is using willpower to squeeze the limit of his body. This move also exposed her position. Where? Chase. Kill her. Rock Shinobi in the rear immediately chased after them, each with a wicked look. It was this woman who killed a lot of her friends. Now they want revenge and make her pay the price. In front of Tsunade is the edge of the forest, and it is not directly facing Rain Shinobi village, although there is also a Rock Shinobi guard there. But as long as you get out from there, there is a chance to escape. This is Tsunade's only hope at the moment, and no motivation to fall. However, Tsunade knew very well in his heart that even if she could dash out of the forest, she probably wouldn't be able to avoid the pursuit in the plains. Unless, there is a ninja support from Konaha. But now it seems that there is no shadow of any Konaha shinobi at all. After all, this is the hinterland of the Rain Country. I am afraid Konaha will be difficult to dispatch a team to come to rescue. Is this the end? Not reconciled. Is my ninja ending like this? I still have to inherit my grandfather's legacy, become a Hokage, and pull out the beard of the third generation. The Senju family's fortune has not been wiped out. How can I die? Feeling the Rock Shinobi ninja behind him getting closer and closer, Tsunade's beautiful eyes showed a trace of unwillingness, but her speed gradually slowed down, and no matter how hard she gritted her teeth, she couldn't improve her speed. Just as he was about to be overtaken by the Rock Shinobi ninja behind him, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Tsunade. This figure flashed and came directly in front of Tsunade. As the Rock Shinobi guards, flanking from front to back, it really is a dead end. But my will to survive won't allow me to fall now. I am the future Hokage, the granddaughter of Senju Hashirama, the god of ninjas. Death to me. Tsunade subconsciously was about to punch him, but she was running out of chakra, unable to exert any strength, and her fist was directly caught in the hand of the person who came. However, in the next moment, she also saw the appearance of the person who came. Because it was a rescue mission, Yi Chen ran all the way, and naturally he couldn't be exposed, so he was wearing a cloak and a Rakshasa mask. And this dress, you can recognize it at a glance, it is the Anbu ninja of Konaha. Seeing Yi Chen, Tsunade finally breathed a sigh of relief. Konaha Anbu ninja arrived, it should be saved. At the same time, she also felt that Yi Chen's breath was a little familiar, but she couldn't tell from the figure. After more than half a year, Yi Chen has changed a lot. No matter your height or size. As soon as he breathed a sigh of relief, Tsunade suddenly felt weak and was about to fall to the ground. Yi Chen instantly stretched out his hands, gently hugged Tsunade, and then jumped to the ground from the tree trunk. At this time, Rock Shinobi's ninja has arrived, menacing and murderous. Tsunade, who was leaning against Yi Chen's arms, breathed a sigh of relief, and noticed that there seemed to be only Yi Chen and Anbu beside him. He felt bad, and said, "Anbu, won't you be the only one here? What about Konaha's troops?" "It's really just me, Tsunade-sama." Yi Chen shrugged and responded softly. The voice sounded familiar to Tsunade, but she couldn't remember it, and her face turned pale in an instant. There is only one person, how can it be saved? This is good, double kill directly. Tsunade is completely out of strength now and can hardly stand up. Yi Chen is taking her, it is almost impossible to escape from these Rock Shinobi. Tsunade said weakly, "You can't save me alone, put me down and leave quickly, and send back the antidote and news of the Sancho fish." Hearing this, Yi Chen was silent. Tsunade still thinks about the safety of others in this situation. If today Yi Chen rescued another Jonin, it is estimated that what others said may be the opposite of Tsunade. 80% is to ask himself to hold Rock Shinobi and give people time to escape. Rock Shinobi's ninjas had already caught up at this time, and all of them showed murderous intentions. Some of them even set up the posture of the knot, and some of them took out stacks of shuriken and were about to throw them out. Visually, there are more than 30 enemies, and there are even 3 Jonin and 1 elite Jonin, who are powerful. Tsunade couldn't help but close his eyes, it seemed that the end was doomed. Ninjas will not give up their companions for missions. Do you believe me? Yi Chen looked at Tsunade in his arms and said. Tsunade opened his eyes and was slightly startled, not knowing what to say. Hold me tight, the next battle may be a little fierce. Yi Chen said, take off the black robe cloak. Kill. Although one more person came out, Rock Shinobi is no nonsense, just do it. In an instant, various earth-style fire-style ninjutsu, as well as a mess of shuriken and kunai, flew towards Yi Chen. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.